This morning from the strangest dream. I was in the biggest army the world has ever seen. We were marching as one on the road to the Holy Grail.
I'm almost with you. I can sense it wait for me. I'm almost with you. Is this a taste of victory? I'm almost with you. I can sense it wait for me. I'm almost with you. Is this the taste of victory? I'm almost with you. I'm almost with you. I'm almost with you.
The moment for the words to stop and the action to begin is just about here, and Adelaide has turned on a superb night with a place in the grand final up for grabs. Good evening everyone and welcome to AAMI Stadium in Adelaide for Network 10's exclusive coverage of this big preliminary final between Port Adelaide and St Kilda. Stephen Silvani joins me. It's been a great build-up. We know about all the demons. The local newspaper says it's time for Port Adelaide. What do you reckon?
I tend to agree. It is time tonight, and they have a window of opportunity tonight to make a grand final, and a loss tonight would be disastrous for the Port Adelaide Footy Club.
We see the Saints and Port Adelaide players arriving there. What about the pressure on Port Adelaide? We know they've twice failed in the last couple of years.
It'd be in the back of their mind, but they should come into this game with full of confidence. They've had four or five very good wins over the last month and a half, and obviously that should give them plenty of confidence at the first bounce tonight.
They've had a great year, haven't they? That's for sure. The Saints, there's some interesting sidelight stories, isn't there, tonight? Fraser Gehrig, 98 goals, 2 for the 100. He struggled last time against Port.
He did, but I'm sure that Terry Danaher would just be saying, listen, play the team game, work hard for your teammates around you. The 2 goals will come.
The other story, of course, is Robert Harvey. His 300th game. There's his children, Remy and Connor, and his wife, Danielle. It's going to be a huge night for him. As we speak at the moment, the Saints players just coming back from their warm-up, heading up in towards the rooms. There is a late change. We'll get details on that in just a moment. Let's first of all go to the Port Adelaide rooms, and it's good evening to Mark Haston.
Yeah, good on you, Hutto. It's a bit eerie down here, I must say, and the reason it's eerie is because there's not a lot of noise, and the reason there's not a lot of noise is because the players are in that room right there, and Mark Williams is talking to them prior to tonight's big game. Look, seeing some of the players as I did half an hour ago or so, they were pretty focused. Mind you, there were a few nerves, but it's a very similar atmosphere to the one we experienced 2 weeks ago when they took on the Cats here at AAMI Stadium. The only difference here, Hutto, is that they get over the line tonight and they play in a grand final.
It's a big difference indeed, Mark. As we speak, the Port Adelaide players have got a huge reception. They're heading upstairs. Listen, that is unbelievable sauce. Well, as I mentioned, there is some news from the St Kilda rooms, and let's get to Andrew Marr with the details.
Thanks very much, Hutto. Air of quiet expectation down here, as there was last week. It's a very similar feeling about the St Kilda rooms. They know exactly what they have to do. The bad news, however, is that Aaron Hamill has not won his race to be fit for this game. He pulled up sore after his double session on Wednesday, will not take his place in the team. He will be replaced by Trent Noble. So repeating, Aaron Hamill out, Trent Noble in. Back to you.
Thank you, Andrew. We saw Aaron Hamill just down here on the bench. How big a loss is that, given that he hasn't been playing anyway?
I think it's a big loss, but he would have been given every opportunity to play tonight. They've gone for the 22 fit players. I think that's a smart move in the final.
Well, some interesting news at selection, as we saw, particularly for the benches as well. Let's get all the details. Welcome Tim Lane and Mick Malthouse.
Thank you, Hutto. Good evening, Mick.
Tim.
You've brought a team here to beat Port Adelaide in a final. What does it take? Well, I think it takes a supreme confidence, and St Kilda after last week should have that confidence about them. We believe that we could win, and the Saints have got to have that same desperation, same belief, and they've got to make sure that it happens early so that it throws a little bit of doubt into the crowd.
Let's have a look at the lineup. Fraser Gehrig, of course, perched on 98 goals to become the third Saint to kick a century. Nick Riewoldt, 244 marks for the year. The midfield battles will be crucial. Del Santo's been outstanding. Hayes, of course, the skipper for St Kilda. Maguire likely to have the huge job on the Brownlow favourite Warren Treadray. And across the last line of defence, Penny and Hudgton to pick up the other talls for Port Adelaide. Now, Kazitsky looks like starting in the first ruck. Harvey, the 300 gamer. And the St Kilda interchange bench, fascinating. Both Blake and Noble starting on the bench. What do you make of that?
Well, it's almost like a safety. It's just in case things don't work out. And I'm not too sure whether that is the way to go in finals. You've got to back your players in. If you believe they're going to be a ruckman's got a ruck. If he's a key back, he's got to be a key back.
Strengths and weaknesses, and I guess St Kilda's strengths are almost cliched. Gehrig and Riewoldt up forward.
Well, they do, Nick. Tim, they do. Nick Riewoldt and Fraser Gehrig, they were in awesome power last week. They look for each other. They feed off each other. If one is winning at centre half forward, you can bet the other one is on the lead up the ground. And of course, Fraser can kick the ball from such a long way out. The other interesting thing was Stephen Mill. For a few weeks, he was out of favour. He just lost all his form, lost his confidence. Last week, he returned to that round between round 1 and round 10 form, and that spells danger for Port. As far as I wouldn't call it a weakness, but it's going to be interesting to see how the back line measure up against the true best centre half forward in the competition in Warren Treadray. Ozzie Jones is an attacking player. Young Maguire's an attacking player. Penny's works pretty hard, but it'll be very interesting to see how that works.
Interesting stats these. When the Saints have won this year, Gehrig's averaged 5.5 goals. When they've lost, he's averaged just over 1.5. Which is the chicken and which is the egg in that?
Oh, well, you've got to get the ball to him. That makes a lot of sense. That if you can get the ball to him, he's going to mark it and he's going to kick goals.
Now, the Port Adelaide lineup in front of a full house here at Amy Stadium. Daryl Wakeland played in the 97 grand final for St Kilda. Chad Corns named at centre half back. It's expected that Bishop will line up on Riewoldt and Corns will run free. His brother has been a wonderful midfielder, great defensive running player who also earns plenty of the ball. Treadray, outstanding, has kicked 77 goals for the year from half forward and taken 180 marks. Thurstons and Lade providing 2 more talls for Port Adelaide. And Brogan in the ruck has been very good. Carr, wonderful defensive midfielder. Peter Burgoyne's had a very, very good season. Dew starting on the interchange bench for Port Adelaide. And like the Saints, tall forwards are a key in Port's success.
Absolutely, Tim. Brendan Lade last week was outstanding right in the goal square. That allowed Warren Treadray to play a lot further out and expose the lack of height, if anything, of Geelong's forward back line. And those two combining together are outstanding. Of course, Warren Treadray can kick left or right, but from outside 50, which makes him a very dangerous player. Their back line is steady, it's solid, it's attacking, as we've seen with the All-Australian centre half back. It's Daryl Wakeland has been in terrific form, but last week, like Milne, who stood up, Byron Pickett became a player who really put pressure on the Geelong defence. And I expect him to do that again. If there's anything that probably gives you a bit of a chance, I think it's that Port, being number 1 possession-getting side, sometimes over-possess and give you a chance.
Isn't Brendan Lade a great story? 28 years of age, missed consecutive years with 2 broken legs, has bounced right back this year, been solid all year, but over the last 4 or 5 weeks has been outstanding. Hutto, back to you.
Thanks, Tim. There's an almighty roar going up here. This is just a sensational atmosphere. It's going to be a great game tonight. We will take a break here from Amy Stadium as you can hear the crowd getting right behind their team tonight. There'll be plenty of nerves, that's for sure. Well, last week it was the Saints under the pump and they stood up after their loss to Brisbane in the first week of the finals. They got over the Swans. As we take that break, let's find out how they did it.
There was a look in the G-Train's eye last week. A steely, determined, I'm not going to be budged look. On his toes, prowling around the goal square, his early contributions shook Sydney's foundations. A huge pack mark. A crunching tackle. Another major on his march to the ton.
He's got it!
Fraser Gehrig, as much as any Saint last week, defined a state of mind and preparedness of body absent from their Gabba trip a fortnight ago. At the end of it all, reputations were restored and life was breathed back into St Kilda's Premiership campaign.
Yes, will it be Port Adelaide or St Kilda who prevail here tonight at AAMI Stadium? Welcome back. It is a sensational atmosphere, Stephen Silvani. The crowd noise we mentioned before the break is quite phenomenal. They're bursting here, aren't they, tonight?
It is. They're really anticipating a great game tonight, and the Port supporters are in plenty of voice.
Well, Shane Warne, of course, a high-profile St Kilda fan. There's plenty of them over here. Warney, I saw him at the hotel today with his mate Aaron Hamill, who, just repeating, is not playing. Here he is in the Saints' rooms with Andrew Demetrio and Ron Evans. Don't think they're discussing opera just there. They're probably talking more footy matters, I would think, with this game so close. Robert Harvey is about to lead the Saints out for his 300th game. His kids, as we saw earlier, are here tonight. And Robert Harvey, of course, joining a prestigious club. His great mates, Nathan Burke, Stuart Lowe, of course, already there, and Barry Breen. Well, here they come, the Saints, onto AAMI Stadium, as you would expect, getting a fair raspberry from the locals. And Robert Harvey with his two children busting through the banner. Stephen Milne, the last man through, and they are onto AAMI Stadium with a huge task ahead of them. What a task for their coach, Grant Thomas. Here he is with Andrew Marr.
How are they, Grant?
Yeah, they seem good. Proof will be in the pudding in about 10 minutes or so.
They took a massive step forward last week. Have you seen a growth in them in the last 7 days?
Look, I've seen a growth in them all year, really. We've had our down patches, of course, but you only realise how good you are when you go through those patches and how you come out and respond. And I think we responded really well. We had a good smack in the gob a couple of weeks ago, and we got up off the canvas and had a really good crack last week. We put ourselves in a position to put enormous pressure in this 2 hours to get a grand final berth. So, they know what it's required.
Where are you hoping to see the 22 exploit Port Adelaide tonight?
Well, just in that, playing as a team, working hard inside, getting their hands on the ball first. We know what's required to make us a good team, and I think it's been pretty well evidence this year, and the things that we do well, we're a very good team.
And just finally, Chad Corn's got hold of you down at York Park. Have you got a specific player and task in mind for him tonight?
Oh, look, Chad's a great player, and if we've got intensity and pressure all over the ground, he's got to make split decisions, and it makes it a lot different than when we haven't got any intensity and he can just pick and choose when he wants to go for the footy. So his performance will be underpinned by our overall ground performance. But, we've got something special for him anyway.
Thanks for your time again. Good luck. Back to you, Hutto.
Thank you, Andrew. There's the Saints and Robert Harvey. It's fascinating, isn't it? He started Noble on the bench and Blake. It's a huge show of faith in Kazitsky and what he can achieve and what Revolt and Co can do up forward.
Well, that's right. Kazitsky can play in the ruck and will probably use his mobility around the ground. He's got the forward targets in Revolt and Garrick up forward, so obviously he's got a well-structured game plan.
We see Fraser Garrick there. Well, the 2 goals that he needs to make the 100, will that make any difference? Will he be playing on his mind?
I think the win is the first thing on his mind tonight. He's got to work hard up forward. Don't worry about the 2 goals. That'll come if he works hard. They'll just need to get the ball down there. He'll need to hold the ball in the forward line, create opportunities for these smaller players like Milne.
Andrew mentioned Chad Corns. What's the best way for them to overcome? I think he had a career best 34 possessions last time he played against them.
They'll either try and put a good player to him where he's got to respect the good player, or they'll try and drag him deep. And I'm not too sure which way Grant Thomas will go, but I think you've got to play a good player on Chad Corns.
Give us a word on Robert Harvey. You've played against him so many times. He's had a wonderful career.
I don't think you can find a fairer player in the AFL competition. He's all class. He's been a champion for the St Kilda Footy Club, and his consistency over so many years has just been such a high level.
No one has won a grand final for the first time after their past 300 games. He'd be the first to do that so late in his career. It's a great testament to him that he's still going so strong.
Oh, no doubt, and obviously has been a captain of this great footy club, and a win tonight gives him an opportunity to play in another grand final.
We saw Nick Revolt there. He's going to have such a massive role to play for them tonight, isn't he?
Oh, he will, and a real up-and-coming superstar. I think he's probably the best starter in the AFL competition. They'll need to watch him early, Port Adelaide. Such a mobile presenting forward, and can do so many things.
Well, there's Port Adelaide. They're in the rooms. As we said, there's been a huge buzz around the ground. It's almost at capacity here, looking around, not too many seats in there. What would the message be from Mark Williams?
I think they've just got to stick to their game plan. They know that finals footy is about hard footy. They've got to work hard for each other. Stick to the basics. Nothing really changes tonight. They've got to stick to their game plan, which has played consistent footy, and it's got them over the line through the home and away season.
Well, we can see them in tight there with Mark Williams. And it's a huge moment for him, isn't it, too? He's got a great record against Grant Thomas. Hasn't been beaten, but as the front of the paper said here today, it is time for Port Adelaide.
No doubt, and his players would know that. And they've been led by Warren Treadray, who's led them with absolute distinction all year.
Well, that is a sensational, a thunderous roar from the Port fans. Hard for us to even hear what we're saying from ground level as they make the trip up. And there is Port flags through the whole of AAMI Stadium, as you can see. And Warren Treadray, will he be the Brownlow medalist this year? He leads them out. Well, what a stunning reception out here on ground level, Steve.
I can tell you, it's absolutely deafening out here. Obviously, not too many St Kilda supporters, but this stadium is absolutely chock-a-block with Port Adelaide people.
Well, let's get to Mark Haston. He's with Matty Primus, a man who would much rather be out there tonight.
Matty, what an extraordinary roar.
Yeah, look, it's been built up the crowd all week, and to see that many Port supporters here is terrific.
No Aaron Hamill. Do you feel as though that's an advantage?
Oh, look, we expected all week. We knew Noble would come in, so we're planned for that and ready for it.
What was Mark's last message to the team?
Oh, just attack them with everything we got and play as hard as we did 2 weeks ago, and we'll be right.
Mate, good luck.
Thanks, Mark.
Thank you, Mark. Well, we talked about the crowd. Port Adelaide fans have been criticised in the past for not turning out and for finals. Doesn't look like there's an empty seat. The reaction, how the players react to this is going to be amazing as well.
No doubt, and I think St Kilda need a good start considering the size of this crowd.
All right, we'll take a break as we go to the break. There's been plenty of moments in the history of Port Adelaide. They've had some defining ones along the way. I wonder if they can do the job tonight. We're back with the bounce very shortly.
We were all waiting to see how they coped, whether or not the finals would claim Port Adelaide again. But Byron Pickett's boldness was his team's pressure release. In the game's frantic early stages, it was Pickett taking the chances. Pickett rolling the dice. Pickett coming up trumps.
And he does! Collision, Pickett just went.
With every momentary triumph, Port's confidence grew. Early hurdles negotiated, there was no falling over this time.
Possibly the biggest crowd ever in AAMI Stadium. Hostile territory indeed for St Kilda as the teams are lining up and the crowd rising from their seats for the national anthem. Beautiful conditions for the first of the 2004 preliminary final. There is no tomorrow for one of these teams tonight. The Saints, who have won just one premiership in 108 years in the AFL. Let's go down to the ground announcer, Craig Willis.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, the Australian Football League and our premier partner Toyota welcome you to this first preliminary final tonight here at AAMI Stadium. Would you now please join with the players and umpires as we stand for our national anthem.
They are going to make a lot of noise tonight. Is it all good for Port Adelaide, Mick, or could the home team go over the top?
No, well, they probably haven't experienced this crowd before in their favour. I think with their maturity, they've got, I think 10 players, 28 or older. I think they will lap it up. And it's a daunting task for St Kilda. They need to start off very, very early and start off well.
Here's the tails, the call. Tails it is. All right.
Toss of the coin, and Lenny Hayes kicking left of screen for the Saints. It is fascinating, isn't it, Steve? You just come from down there. We're not overreacting. The response from the crowd is amazing, and how the players will respond, from Port particularly.
From us standing down on the ground, it was quite hostile. I mean, if you were a St Kilda player out there, the roar was actually swirling right around the ground. So, as you said, Mick, the start just so important for the Saints that they get an early goal on the board just to give them a bit of a settler.
Very young side, and that will be interesting to see how they handle this crowd.
We've been told only about 25,000 people in this city barracked for Port Adelaide, and the rest hated them. Well, they've got the best part of 50,000 here tonight who seem to be very much on side.
It's a wonderful side, isn't it? As we see the Saints start to move towards their positions, and Port Adelaide, Warren Treaderay, no doubt heading forward. It's been such a potent forward line. There's the weather, no problems there. Pretty cool out there, but 12 degrees, fine. Not too much dew on the ground, which is great as well. Robert Harvey in game number 300. And this powerful Port Adelaide combination, how will they be combated by the Saints?
Is there a scoring end down there when you're on the ground?
Not much wind at all, Steve, is there? It's very calm out there.
It is, and there's a little bit of dew on the ground, but you'd think that the players would cope with that.
Looks like Hardwick might have the job to go to Nick Del Santo. Ball in there as well.
Confident young man, Nick Del Santo.
Bishop,
a very good footballer.
Bishop has got re-rolled.
And Brett Voss is heading down towards Chad Corns. So Brett Voss, there's a surprise. He's gone down to the forward line to play, you would think, a defensive role on Chad Corns. It's a big call, Mick.
Well, it's interesting. It's very difficult to tag as a half forward on a centre-half back who's intent to win and run the ball.
We are ready to go. It's Friday night football. It's Port Adelaide versus St Kilda for a place in the 2004 Grand Final.
Brett Allen bounces the ball, and the first contest is hot, and it leaves, I think, Roger James flat on his face in the middle. He picks himself up slowly as a second crush ensues, and it was his own teammate, Peter Burgoyne, who got James to the head. How much stuffing has he knocked out? Thompson for St Kilda, one of the veterans who rose last week, working it to Ball, to Baker, can't find the handle. Revolt is thereabouts, so is Hayes. It's a hard handle to find at the moment. The ball slippery, or perhaps the hands just a little nervous, and umpire Allen steps in and will break them up again.
There's double coverage on Warren Treaderay already, with Pickett falling back in front of him.
Bit of a misfire there from Peter Burgoyne. Plenty of nerves out there, you'd expect. Powell missed it. James, how's his recovery? And Black takes it to the boundary line. What an opening. We're expecting it in finals. Fierce clash of bodies. You expect it from teams against their opponents, not the friendly fire. But I guess that can happen in the heat of finals football. Kazitsky, he's got to do the ruck work tonight. He's getting fierce pressure from Kasisi. Bodies going in everywhere. And a bounce. Fairly crowded St Kilda forward line away to the left. But plenty of players around the ball. Interference to Kazitsky against Brogan. I think he's fourth in the league for giving away free kicks, Dean Brogan. Kick goes in. Gehrig. Milne. And it's over.
Well, Saints have certainly done their homework. It's a good ploy. They've got Rewald and Gehrig way back in the goal square, or near the goal square. And they're making sure that Corns doesn't go anywhere near them by taking them away from the ball.
Well, blood's been drawn, and it is the blood of Matthew Bishop. Now, that's a problem for Port Adelaide, because they're going to have to rejig their defence. Bishop having picked up a revolt.
Toby Thurston's will come down, I reckon, and pick him up.
Chad Corns has gone to him just at the moment.
And there's that opening clash again. James had recovered pretty well and got straight back into the thick of it again. Adam Kingsley takes the journey out into the heat of the action, and it is hot out there at the moment. So Corns goes to revolt for the moment. St Kilda in attack, an eventful start. One Port man laid out, another one bleeding. Sean Burgoyne at the front there. Here's James boxing on courageously after that opening mishap. Another ball up. String of stoppages in the opening couple of minutes of the first preliminary final. Here's Bishop. And again, it's a teammate. Darryl Wakeland with the elbow to the head. James again, the ball's following him. Full marks to him. High ball. Cassisi camped under it. Here's Powell of St Kilda on his wrong side, and he knows it. He straightens. He's weaved his way through well. Distance just beyond him. The kick poor. Milne getting a hand in there. Corns at the drop, but under pressure. And St Kilda is still a chance. Black, a natural left footer. Powell at the fall. Crash through or crash. It's the latter. And another ball up.
Well, there's great pressure out there, not much time, plenty of fumbling, which suggests there's a fair bit of pressure coming from both sides. These players will just have to expect the unexpected. There will be mistakes.
I think this suits St Kilda. 2 minutes have been played and there's been no score.
They've locked it in at the moment. Can they produce something? Kaczynski, Milne, he's the man to do it. He couldn't find his left. Gets another chance. Black back in the side tonight. James, hasn't he copped it so far? But he stands tall and drives to Mr. 300. Robert Harvey, who takes the mark. Almost all the players in the Saints forward half at the moment. Revolt makes his strong and bold lead. For a moment, Harvey was convinced, then he had to change his mind, and he's forced to adjust his plans and go back to Peckett, who moves on automatically, gets it to the square. Milne, you've got to go. Burgoyne, Milne! Oh, he's taken it. Stephen Milne, what a way to silence the crowd.
Well, sensational. He initiated the contact, Milne. Burgoyne wasn't expecting the body contact, and he was just shifted too easily.
I think if there's a weakness in Sean Burgoyne's backline play, it is definitely the one-on-ones. He didn't want that contest. He wanted the big fellas to fly for that and produce the crumb.
Well, he fixed him up last time, Burgoyne. Milne really struggled, but now he's coming in to shoot for goal to steady the nerves for the Saints, but he misses, and that is an enormous waste of opportunity. And Stephen Milne puts the Saints on the board.
Well, just sign of nerves. He really only took 3 or 4 steps going into that kick.
He should have been 20 out, and he kicked from about 35, didn't he? So a wasted opportunity for St Kilda, but they've started most impressively. Port Adelaide have not been forward and haven't had much of the footy. Kingsley now with kick-in duties delivers to Hardwick. St Kilda with the only score.
Until then, Tim, Roger James, 3 possessions were the only possessions for Port Adelaide.
Hardwick just blazes. Revolt is there. Corns arriving. Here's Harvey again. A second feel of the ball early. Has felt a few footies in his hands over 300 games.
Got Garrick free.
Thompson goes for him and finds him. Now he's out near the boundary, but it is the pocket that favours the left footer. Can he post number 99 early?
Just poor marking. That generally happens on a kick out where players are on a zone situation and the ball is turned over, they're caught out, can't get back to their direct opponent.
I find it incredible that at this stage of the game only 2 players from Port have actually got a possession, James and Hardwick.
The G-Train having to thread the eye of the needle. He doesn't. It's a good mark to Kaczynski. And St Kilda are dominating the footy.
And Mick, this is significant, obviously, because Kaczynski in the ruck is making Brogan work.
Well, he's going to make him play, I believe, as a key back, and that doesn't suit Brogan. He likes to be the player that dominates not only the ruck work, but around the ground.
Left footer uses his right. Curls it too much. Another miss.
They're just not making the Saints, Port pay, are they, with their number of possessions? I think it's 12-4 at this stage.
Just held it long enough.
Give a shot from behind the goals at the Port Adelaide end.
We'll see what we can do, Mick. Here's James to kick in from full-back. Bishop just back on the ground, patched up and ready to get back into the hustle and bustle. Burgoyne turns it over. Ball composed enough. And now Gehrig's loose. Will he have a shot? He takes on the responsibility. And that's number 99. And more importantly, number 1 for the Saints. Someone had to really stand up and take responsibility, Mick, and have that shot, and he did it.
Well, it's against the flow as far as the shots on goal goes. It's against his leg, rather, and it was a wonderful goal. He has kicked a lot of those during the year, though. Fraser Gehrig is a terrific concentrator on the ball when he's having a shot for goal.
And once again, an opportunity created from that turnover on a kick-out.
And it won't help Peter Burgoyne's nerves. He hasn't got a terrific finals record.
Disposals 15-5. 3 Port Adelaide players have had the footy. Kazitsky against Brogan. The Port man wins, but Thompson covers it. Hayes coming off half-back at that centre contest. To Ball, to Harvey. This is a magnificent start by the Saints. Could the 300-gamer go all the way? Could Gehrig snare it? Neither. Throw in.
Well, they're cutting him up at the moment. There's nothing happening for Port.
They are right on the back foot, and again, it's the Saints pressing here in the forward pocket. Kazitsky, Gehrig's back in the square. Here's James. It's a one-man show. That was a drop kick. The umpire says it's okay, and the ball is over the line.
The security guards have come amassing 2 boys for Fraser Gehrig. They've gathered down behind him already. There's about 25 of them.
Well, he needs 1 for the ton, and he's back in the square as we see the throw-in. Kazitsky and Brogan, they're going to be tired very soon. This is played at an enormous intensity. There's James again. Clearing kick. Doesn't do the job. Powell's within range. Works it. Here's the moment. Gehrig, yes! Oh, stunning start by St Kilda.
Well, not only that, this could alleviate all the problems that the AFL thought they may have had later in the game. So it almost could happen in the first 10 minutes of the game. Terrific mark. Great kick from the non-preferred side from young Powell. He's another one that's dominating. I think Port are going to have to use their bench. They've got runners on their bench. They're going to have to get them out there very quickly.
If there is a delay here, this might really help Port Adelaide, because St Kilda have the momentum at the moment. And if Gehrig kicks the goal and goes into the history books as the 27th player to kick 100 goals in AFL footy, maybe that'll be the moment that Port can regroup and get things together. For a full forward, it's a relatively simple task. Fraser Gehrig for 100. A moment to savour. And here they come. Fraser Gehrig joins a magnificent list of names over the years. Lockett, Coleman, Hudson, Coventry, Ablett and Dunstall.
Well, that worked as far as the security guards goes.
Well, really, the St Kilda fans have got rocks in their heads.
They're actually bringing Gehrig off the ground, boys. He's going up the St Kilda race right now. He's leaving the ground as we speak, which is unprecedented in a situation like this.
Well, it's actually the plan, Andrew, to get him off, and so the fans come on and they can just dance around, and then they realise there's nothing to dance and do. And as Tim said, the sooner they get off, the better. I mean, it looks like out there with the Saints team all in the middle, like they've already won the match, doesn't it?
Well, it's a terrible shame, this, really.
It is, and both teams just huddling in the middle of the ground, surrounded by security guards.
Well, one thing's for sure, it's become very evident that even though there was 20 or 30 security guards here, that was not enough.
Well, I guess it wasn't necessarily expected to be. It was always going to be a tough task. The significant thing, though, the 100 goals is magnificent, but that's only small stuff in the context of the game. The Saints have got 2 goals on the board. They lead by 14. Port must already be feeling that feeling that they were hoping they wouldn't.
Well, exactly right, and they've really struggled to get the ball out of their backline, Port Adelaide. They've just got no fluency in their game. They've got no option. St Kilda are winning all the contested footy at the moment.
21-7 as far as the stats go. significantly, the ball has been in their back line for a long time, and Chad Coles hasn't touched it.
Just interrupting, Mick, sorry, the St Kilda players are telling the fans to get off the ground here. They know they've got the momentum, and how will it affect them?
Well, the fact that there were adults out there creating the problem just defies explanation, really, and they were barracking for St Kilda, presumably. Max Hudson with the job on Treadray. The ball has not been near him. 3 Port Adelaide players have used the footy. 2 of them, James and Bishop, have both been whacked in the head in the first 10 minutes. Maybe Mark Williams should get out and clean up the rest of them.
Well,
Fraser Kerrick coming back onto the ground.
He wasn't replaced. He actually came off to just create that safety, I suppose. But it's interesting where he came back on the ground. But then again, he wasn't replaced. So I dare say the AFL won't be requiring him to run through the race.
And we should say a wonderful effort. 100 goals is a sensational effort.
And it took him less than 11 minutes to join Tony Lockett and Bill Moore as century goal kickers for St Kilda. The Saints continue to monopolise the footy. Hayes to revolt. Was he ridden into the ground? No, he wasn't. Hardwick arrives, flattened by Milne. James goes in to try and win it again, and he'll come out with a free kick. And this will be Roger James' 6th possession. Port have accumulated only 9 so far.
So 66% of their possessions he's had. And he's been really holding up the Saints, who have managed to kick 2-2, and now Port will go into attack for the first time. Thurstons gets them up to half forward, and Kane Corns, who's got the job on Del Santo as he did last time. He did it effectively then. Can he do so tonight? It's a high ball to full forward, and Hudson was hopelessly out of position, and Treadray doubling back, read it beautifully, and has a chance now to strike a blow for Port Adelaide.
Yes, well, as you said, Hutto, Treadray read it better. Hudson thought it was going to go a lot further than what he did. He went to support lane, and we just see there, Hudson didn't read that ball very well. Treadray read it best.
It pays to keep the eye on the ball and know where the man is by touch. Interesting behind the play, and it didn't happen behind the play, it happened in play, but just watching Luke Ball, who doesn't look 100% to me. He's spent a lot of time in the hands of the trainers since that mark's been taken.
Here's Warren Treadray. Port Adelaide, it was a wobbly kick, but it was accurate. He got the job done, and boy, did they need it. Port Adelaide 1 straight, St Kilda 2-2.
Yeah, important goal that for Port Adelaide, particularly coming from their skipper. First time that Port Adelaide had been inside their forward 50 this quarter. And who better to take the grab? Warren Treadray, their skipper, and puts this one in to settle his team.
It's not just Port Adelaide with a few problems early. Luke Ball, let's have a look. It could be ribs, it could be a corky. He's in trouble.
It looked like ribs, I reckon, the way he was coming off. He looked very uncomfortable. Port have their first, and they're in the game, and James wins it away again. He's produced a wonderful effort. Now is there advantage? Yes, there is. Kane Corns kicks their second. Good call of advantage from Scott McLaren. The fall of the ball favoured Port, and he waved it on. There's the free kick against Jones and the spillage to Corns.
And perfect football by Port. Quick kick out of the middle. Doesn't have to be anything special. Just get it on your boot. Give your forwards every advantage. And Kane Corns was able to take the advantage and kick the goal.
Well, the best player for Port have been those idiots that jumped the fence, because that really has stopped the Saints' momentum, and it's their own side.
And now the crowd has found its voice again. Out of the middle, Brogan, it's a real scrap. Lenny Hayes trying to generate the ball forward, but he can't, he's wrapped up. And Roger James continues to amass amazing stats. 7 possessions out of 14 for Port Adelaide.
What an example he set.
Brogan, but it's Harvey also getting busy. Oh, from the middle, they seem to dissolve around him. Hayes to Voss, who's got the roll forward on Corns. More important matters. He goes for Gehrig, who's trying to get onto his left to kick his third. He still might. Out wide, this is Baker in unfamiliar territory. And so it proves. Out on the full.
Stopping no stations was the message from the G-Train.
And the important thing for the Saints as far as Gehrig is concerned is not only has he got that 100 goals behind him, but he's right in the game. He's showing his physical side, and that can only be good news for the Saints.
Now Wilson for Port Adelaide. Good long ball. Thurston's with the run out at third in line. Kazitsky weighted down and read it well. Gehrig is dangerous again. And this is a scoring position for him.
Well, third time it's happened, Mick, on a kick out where Port have not been able to get it over their half-back line. The ball's come straight back. I think this is the second time Gehrig has been left on his own.
Yes, Daryl Wakeland is obviously part of the zone, but it's a long way from where Gehrig is. So I think that Port will have to readjust their zone.
For 101. Close. Yes. He's done it. He has 3. An extraordinarily eventful opening quarter.
Yes, and obviously Mark Williams would be thinking about where to place Wakeland in the zone.
Well, I think that the St Kilda homework's been done very well with Chad Corns not touching the ball either.
Until today, Fraser Gehrig had never kicked more than 1 goal against Port Adelaide in a match. He's got 3, and we're only halfway through a very eventful opening term. Laid from his head, gets it down. Carr, Hayes again, who's been prolific as well for the Saints. Out wide, Revolt leading Bishop to it. Wilson, Baker, and Wilson prevails and gets them going, but for how long? Oh, Saints need communication. And Pickett able to just dart away and build up again. Wasn't a great handball, made it tough for Thompson, but they think their way through it, the Saints, and Harvey's on the end of it and dashing towards goal. Sends it again to Gehrig, and again he's taken the mark. This deadly left foot has caused havoc so far on this occasion. It's just a behind.
And just at the moment, Robert Harvey is causing plenty of concerns for Mark Williams. 5 possessions, but those 5 possessions being quality really set the Saints up probably 4 shots at goal.
James again, he is everywhere, and he gives it to Chad Corns. Revolt hasn't had the footy yet, doesn't have a disposal, and the fact that St Kilda have done as well as they have without him contributing, pretty good sign. Now Schofield, who started on the bench. Stats 36 to 18, St Kilda's way. Port would be pleased to be within 9 points. Golly, he got himself into awful trouble. Lucky not to be gone, really. And guess who's there to help him out? But he's in strife too. Saints applying terrific pressure. Black just couldn't quite keep the ball in.
Grant Thomas would be absolutely delighted with that. I reckon that's a significant moment. If the Saints are going to win, they've got to slow Port Adelaide up.
Absolutely, from that back line. It's interesting that Gehrig and Pickett clashed there right in front of the ball.
Well, all points to Fraser at the moment. This man, Roger James, getting his teammates involved, and Peter Burgoyne would feel better for breaking. Oh, Pickett's cleaned someone up. It's Thompson. We'll get back to that. Thompson's on his feet because Treadray's firing for his second. And he can't even score on this occasion. Early signs for Port Adelaide are not good. Byron Pickett is trying to do something about it, trying to get a physical presence, but pick on someone your own size, Byron.
That was one of those, yeah. Port attacking. Lade and Maguire. And Carr roving it, and with the wrong foot, kicking their 3rd goal. Port are doing enough to be in the game. Been outclassed across the ground, and yet they're within 3 points.
Well, that's right. They've made the most of their opportunity. Carr, who has been quiet, that was his first possession, puts a goal through. Pretty sure Josh Carr is picking up Harvey around the ground.
I know the Saints are dominating with stats, but every time that Port go inside their 50, they've scored, and that's danger.
Yeah, 3 from 3, extraordinary efficiency. But Robert Harvey, in his 300th, continues to pump the ball forward. Milwaite's down. Voss invading the forward line and kicks a goal. Well, he's playing a defensive role in the forward line, and that goal is a huge bonus.
Oh, absolutely. Given how Chad Corns has played for the year, he now has to be responsible for this man. He can't leave him. It's a great move, interesting move, brave move.
Until tonight, Brez Voss only 3 goals for the year, 33 for his career. He's playing a defensive role up forward. What a huge bonus that goal is. And the Saints maintain their lead. It's 9 as it stands.
A reward for the St Kilda coaching panel for some lateral thinking. Powell to Voss again. Corns with the rattling spoil, but it's dangerous. Here's Harvey again. Voss, revolt, his first kick. Has missed.
Just a sheer weight of numbers there, Mick.
It is. It's amazing there's only 10 points in the game, and yet the Saints appear to me that we thought their ruck division may be a bit short. They're dominating out of the centre. Their forwards are putting maximum pressure on. 8 shots versus 3.
And they've put Port Adelaide right on the back foot. But as we've mentioned, Port have been magnificent when they have gone forward. Look at that time in possession, 29 to 43. And Darryl Wakeland's been right under the pump. He's seen Gehrig get away for 3 goals. And again, they're able to lock it in the forward line with the throw-in.
Gehrig's goals have been interesting. He's kicked the 3, but on 2 occasions, of course, they were from kickoffs where Wakeland was certainly caught in a zone situation where he was a long way from the action.
Now, Maguire is going with Lade in this ruck contest. Looks like he's got the job when Lade goes into the middle. Powell's also been busy. Here's a chance for Milne. Got a gentle shove from Burgoyne. Held on to the jumper. Umpire missed both. Play on. Fierce tackling. And a ball up inevitable.
Millie. Stephen.
10 points the difference. 7 minutes remaining. A massive crowd tonight at AAMI Stadium. And they were silenced early when Fraser Gehrig flew out and kicked the 2 goals. Here's Milne swarming around again.
Right footy. No. It's
25 possessions to the midfield of the Saints to 13, and 10 of those 13 are by Roger James. They're going to have to work their bench until they find the right combination, Port.
And that inside 50 discrepancy, only producing a 10-point difference on the board. There's Maguire doing the ruck work. Kane Corns. Maguire's second effort there. Outstanding. And forcing yet another ball up.
And we just see there Byron Pickett. Aussie Jones is actually going to Byron Pickett. Kassissi's trying to get to Aussie Jones, which is freeing a St Kilda backman up.
It's been a magnificent opening quarter. A lot of stoppages, but gee, there have been some thrills. Wilson smothered. Still nowhere to go.
Brandon on the head, Milne.
High tackle.
On the face, mate. Not on. Hit.
Kane Corns ball.
Marcy, please.
For Port Adelaide. Question mark has hung over St Kilda's defence all year. The fate of this preliminary final might lie with it. It's leaked in the opening quarter. Port from 3 entries, 3 goals to be in the match. Otherwise, comprehensively, it's been St Kilda's quarter. Montgomery now to a one-on-one, and Kingsley wins it hands down. Does beautifully, and this is the footy that Port Adelaide love to play. Marnie started on the bench. Oh, for Treadray, who absolutely gave Hudson the slip. And will line up for his second from about 40 metres out.
Well, he had the whole of the forward 50. Max Hudson just couldn't find any touch on Warren Treadray. Difficult circumstance or position to be in, but the Port player that brought the kick in was able just to hold the ball, and Treadray led at him and was able to take an easy grab.
I was actually watching that from the moment it hit the wing. Max lost contact. He should have got him behind him and worked him forward, but Warren Treadray, fantastic body work. 5 entries to the 50 for Port Adelaide. Not a fourth goal. In fact, a St Kilda free kick. That's a disappointing miss, that.
And there was always those question marks over the set shots for Warren Treadray. He's worked so hard at it and improved significantly. But under finals pressure, who knows what might happen. Ball's back on the ground for the Saints, but there's Lay getting a fist on it. Ball right in and under. Straight back to Powell, through the middle, it opens up. Peckett, he's got Revolt away, or he might just go long and get it into Fraser, who's decided to stay right back in the square at the moment. Goes for Revolt. Still 2 kicks out from goal, and still Gehrig waits to make his move. So they bring it back into Powell, and he wants to go. His mate Hudson wasn't ready for it, but numbers will prevail. Hayes gliding to half forward, trying to get it on the chest of Harvey, but couldn't. Carr over it, got a problem, well played. And the Port defence under fierce pressure, doing a great job at emerging with the ball in the arms of Kane Corns, who sends it to the wing. Marnie got one high, took the mark anyway. Back to James, and the build-up continues. It's faltered though. Jones cleans up, out to Peckett, and now the Saints go to half forward. Revolt with a run-up. The light's got in the eyes of both players, and it's Bishop that gets in the road and provides some respite for Port, and might quickly turn that into attack.
Revolt with just 2 possessions. Now Schofield from behind the centre. And again, St Kilda check Port Adelaide effectively. Montgomery, though, to Sean Burgoyne, as Port try and build something here. Kicks to a contest for Brogan with a huge height advantage over Heath Black. Thought about the hand pass, didn't constitute play on. Might have done if the umpire had seen it. Sets it up. Thurston's in from the side. St Kilda free kick. And the locals not exactly thrilled about that one. Hodgson's ball. And he has Stephen Powell running loose. He has the outer wing to himself here. Doesn't hang on to it. Del Santo, been quiet in the early onslaught. Powell again. He's after Gehrig and Revolt, who hits the deck, and there'll be a throw-in. Ball just hasn't found the blonde bombshell in the opening quarter, but
Take nothing away from Bishop, though. He plays that running role very well. He's a quick player. He's quick enough to match Nick Riewoldt on the lead, so Nick's going to have to work a lot harder than what he has been so far in this first quarter compared to last week.
3 minutes remaining in this fascinating opening term. Kingsley and James, his 12th possession, a stunning performance in a team that's only had 40. Burgoyne to the wing, Treadray in the mix. Baker, James, this is Powell. Dew inserted into the action, got a handball to Baker though, and Jones gets the Saints to half forward. Commitment required, commitment provided. Look at Harvey, have an impact, wasn't a great kick. Burgoyne and Milne, he went to ground. Second tackle was fantastic. He got a kick away. Voss sets up Milne. Oh, crunch, too strong Brogan. And now, Port Adelaide through Montgomery. Get it out wide, Thurston's, he spilt it. Not paid. Penny claiming the free. It's over and out. Throw in, and the crowd find their voice again.
Hutto, Luke Ball in trouble. He's too brave for his own good, this bloke. He's waved the physio away 4 times. He's just got crunched again then, and he's waved him away again.
Yes, he it was who came with the flight of the ball with tremendous courage after being benched earlier in the quarter. Brogan, big swipe, Port's way. Del Santo on his wrong side. Good thinking. Powell's been very good. Oh, he ran into trouble then. But gets it to Ball. James intercepting. But Peckett's got it for the Saints, who continue to pepper. Kazitsky now. Forced to hold it. Need to move it quickly. Inside the last 90 seconds. Goal here would be a great reward for a terrific opening quarter, but they're not going to get it with a kick like that. And it could happen at the other end of the ground as Montgomery waits that perfectly for Marnie. Again, the 50 is wide open. And again, it's Port Adelaide's ball, and this time it's laid. with the man on the mark at 48.
Well, if you look at one positive for Port, Mick, is that when they've got it inside their forward 50 or up in their forward line, their key forwards have found the ball pretty easily.
Yeah. Part of the reason is that their key forwards aren't coming a long way up the ground. I noticed Brett Montgomery, he drops right off Powell, and Powell's getting a lot of ball. But when they break, their key forwards are in position to take the lead.
From on the 50. Crowd like it. He's done it. Great result for Port Adelaide as they get their fourth. In terms of the relativity of one team to the other, you can't imagine St Kilda doing better than they've done in general play in this quarter, and yet they lead by just 4 points.
Especially with their midfield. They're really dominating with the numbers, except for Brett James.
Trent Noble on the ground. There's the centre breaks 5-1 St Kilda's way. But Trent Noble, who was dropped on Thursday night, a late inclusion, on the ground and playing in defence. He's effectively at full back. And I reckon Port Adelaide would be licking their lips at that prospect at the moment as he tries to counter Lade. Out of the middle, they might have a chance to go in front by the first break. Wouldn't that be an astounding result? Holding the ball was the call, though, and it's the Saints who can run. Now the umpire... That is a very interesting call. The advantage was there. It was an errant handball.
Yep, I agree.
Yeah, it's a soft option by taking the player back.
Guerra now takes the kick up to the wing. Kazitsky, he's got a man going on his left side, but it's Heath Black, who's pretty reliable. Revolt might get a shot on the siren.
It's all right.
And what a big kick this is going to be after all we've seen in the opening quarter.
Well, it's a very interesting situation with Nick Riewoldt there. Instead of coming up the ground, he went laterally, and that's the way he was able to get away from Bishop.
So Nick Riewoldt with the Saints only 4 points of an advantage to show for all their opening quarter work, and he can only add to it by 1. So how do you read that opening term with the Saints leading by 5?
Well, had everything, didn't it, Gresham? Plenty of skill, but what a wonderful start by the Saints. They had plenty of the ball, kicking 4 goals in that quarter, but can't take anything away from Port. They made the most of their opportunities and also kicked 4 goals.
Well, as you said, the opening quarter had everything. At the end of it, the Saints lead by 5. There was injury, there was aggression, and there was that moment for Fraser Gehrig when he kicked the tub.
With fire in my hand.
Well, this is when the coaches really earn their money. Grant Thomas sent his charges out tonight and they went out flying. Mark Williams, on the other hand, had to counter-attack. He was helped after the Fraser Gehrig 100th goal, which gave them time to regroup, and they certainly did that. Port hitting back 4 straight goals from just the 6 entries inside 50. At the end of it all, 4-5-29, St Kilda, and Port Adelaide 4 straight 24. Well, guys, we hoped we'd have a match, and we certainly got one. It was drama everywhere you looked.
Absolutely. Any player that can come in and kick his, one playing his 300th game, another one kicking his 100th goal for the season. It's a great backdrop to the actual game of football.
As you said, the 100 goals almost insignificant in terms of the game itself, but what is significant is Fraser Gehrig being on.
He's on song. I feel a bit sorry for Daryl Waitman. He's been caught out because of the kickoffs. The boys haven't been able to clear it, Port boys. And Daryl's been caught in a odd position. So on the man-on-man situation, he's not doing too bad, but he's just, the St Kilda zone has been very effective.
3 goals, 1 for Fraser Gehrig for the opening term. And what would Grant Thomas be telling them, do you think, Mick, at this stage after what he's seen?
Well, no doubt keep the pressure up. Their forward line pressure has been outstanding, and I just think try to minimise the opportunity for Port to break through the middle to find those loose targets inside the 50, and that means the turnover ball is essential, that you stop the turnover.
All right, let's get down and find more about what the coaches said at quarter time, and Andrew Maher is with Mark Aston.
Yeah, Hutto, Mark Williams, very, very loud and very, very boisterous at quarter time, ran straight out, sprinted straight out, the players got around him, and he was very much to the point. On the crowd, Andrew, I know you haven't been here too many times before, but this is the loudest and certainly the best atmosphere we've seen here for a long, long time.
It's a phenomenal atmosphere. St Kilda were talking about the sticking of their tackles. They were wrapped with that in the first quarter. Luke Ball looked like he started the game with a hip. He had a brace on. They checked that out at quarter time. He seems okay. Heath Black might be a problem. He went to the physio, said, I've got a problem with my back. They did a bit of manipulation with him, but he's down to start the quarter.
All right, second quarter then from AAMI Stadium. It couldn't possibly be as good as the first, or could it? Maguire gets it going from the middle. Carr, Montgomery over the top. There was a shove there, and it's a Port Adelaide ball. And Pickett's away, but for how long? Harvey trying to hunt him down. He gets past them all, waiting to try and bring Hardwick into the game, which he does. Distance on the kick was okay, but Maguire couldn't handle the slippery ball. And it brings Lade in with an opportunity, a wild tackle. And Port Adelaide, the chance here. He's quick with a release. Marnie just offline. But a much better start for Port than the opening term.
Oh, yeah, attack on the ball was very, very important out of the centre square. It's important now that they've got to show that they actually want the ball more than the Saints players, and the Saints demonstrated that in the first quarter with their on-ball brigade.
Jones to bring it back for the Saints.
Another terrific zone, this time the other end of the ground by Port.
Forces him short and gives to Harvey, who had 7 first quarter possessions. Wonderful start. Hudson now. Bit of a loft on the kick, but it'll land all right for Penny, for St Kilda, as they manoeuvre it around. And now Baker finds a bit of space. Can't quite get off the mark. Delivers for Peckett, but comprehensively beaten by Carr. So Port starting well here. Peter Burgoyne, probing kick. Treadray the target. And fights on the deck. 2 of them quell him. Hudson to Jones. And cannot find a way out. Now he can. And that's a good kick for Harvey,
who looks up and he has got a man. It's Black wandering along on the wing. Takes it and he looks up, nothing doing. Has to go laterally, nothing there either. Now he's going to need to test his left foot skills. Off the boot, he's got plenty. Late effort from Voss, crashed the pack. His opponent, Corns, got away. Hardwick, this is Carr now. And Burgoyne lost the handle. He's under the pump. He gets away. Corns, this is great pressure. Hardwick, they work it out the back. And into the arms of Corns. Guerra comes and hits hard, but he gets it to half forward. Almost the mark, Wanganeen. Treadray in the mix as well. Maguire emerging and sends it onto the wing. Guerra against his old team, and the crowd letting him know that he didn't get there.
There's one player in particular must lift for his side, and that's Gavin Wanganeen.
That's a good point. There's the Guerra hit on Corns.
Good signs. The St Kilda half forward line working really hard to hold the ball in there.
Wanganeen without a touch so far.
Here's Harvey again. The stats continue to flow. He'll be in double figures after this. Revolt now. Into the second half of that opening term, started to make a mark. That's a lovely kick, a perfect kick. Kazitsky couldn't hang on. Well wrapped up by Brogan, a great tackle. And a ball up as the outcome.
Some terrific heavy shepherding work off the ball to enable Revolt to mark that.
Making Brogan work those sauce again. Kazitsky pushing forward, not letting him get back on Gehrig.
Brogan and Kazitsky and Ruck now. Ball a hand in there, no result though. Pickett for Port Adelaide, premiership player, knows about the heat in the kitchen. Now Hardwick. Was after Treadray, but Hudson attacked the ball aggressively and holds up Port for the moment.
And there's the Saints bench. Brendan Goddard yet to get his chance. Jason Blake and Trent Noble starting on the bench, which was a little surprising that they both did. But plenty of faith shown in Maguire, and he has to do the ruck work there. Burgoyne, Hayes, and you talked about
Wanganeen, and Peter Burgoyne's the other one, Mick. He's had just the 2 possessions.
Yeah,
check in on the Port bench.
Yeah, indeed, he's got to pick up. It's interesting. Byron Prickett's coming a long way up the ground and brings Jones up the ground, so he can't sit off as a zone player.
They're into attack, but alas, the kick off the side and slides over the boundary line. It was the 13th possession for Roger James. As we check at the other end of the ground, Sauce.
Yeah, there's Fraser Gehrig. All he's doing at the moment, he's walking through the goalpost. The reason he does that, it makes it very difficult for the fullback to actually find touch on him.
Then a boundary throw, clear the ruckman. Thompson over the top. And now another bounce. As you mentioned, Tim, in that opening turn, there was plenty of stoppages.
Do my pally. Sort ourselves out, please.
Both sides have been wonderful at the clearances through the year.
Thanks, Brendan.
Stock full of talent. And they're so close to goal here, Port. Saints defenders have to be right on their mettle. 2 lots of ruckman going at it. We've seen plenty of that for Port this year. Hayes just gave it to Powell, to Harvey. Against the line, has to go for the boundary line and gets it. So for the first time in the match, really, the ball being played in Port Adelaide's forward half for any significant period of time. As we check in the clearances, they're pretty close.
I suppose one thing that can be said for that is that it's giving a chance to the St Kilda defence to start to find some sort of a rhythm. It didn't in the first quarter. Laid, lovely bring down. Carwell tackled. He had his 2nd goal in his sights. The Saints hold up Port Adelaide again and win a free kick.
You dragged it back in, mate. You dragged it back in.
There's the playmaker being penalised.
Well, the call was that Roger James dragged it back in after the initial tackle. We'll see it here.
Hayes to Harvey. Hudson running for him. Treadray arriving. Makes the spoil. This could be costly. Marnie, time to line them up. James again.
Oh, he's had an outstanding game. Very strong over his head. Generally a good kick. Not a long kick, but very accurate.
Yeah, Mick, it's really tough to know who's going to Roger James. There are times that Lenny Hayes is going to him, and at a couple of stoppages, it seems like Thompson is.
This to put Port Adelaide in front. And he deserved to do that. Port, for the first time, lead.
Great forward line pressure by Treadray to bring the ball to the ground in the start-up, and a very intelligent kick across the face of goal to a player who had the set in Roger James. It's interesting the way the stats have started to even out now. There's a lot more ball being won by Port through the middle, and it's evident their forward line now is a lot more structured.
And they've put their nose in front, and suddenly they're up and going. Carr dragged down. Hayes working back hard in front of Treadray. That was an important ball to be won, and so is this. Aussie Jones, Black it was, got it across back to Hayes, onto the wing. And now Powell has time to think just for a moment. And was that a mark? A push. Ball. Climbs to his feet. Revolt back in the square. Gehrig back in the square. Milne at their feet where he should be. And Gehrig and Revolt now both standing about 30 out and having to double back and go again. So
just half a metre, Josh, please.
The change up to Lenny Hayes. Coming in for possession number 9.
We'll have Harvey.
Revolt goes into the pocket. Oh, it was an obvious shove. And the umpire saw it.
Frustration there. I think he had his lead cut off. He's just got to work to get in front of that player that cuts him off.
Oh, dangerous kick from Corns, but he does manage to find his brother, as he did no doubt many times in the backyard. Port in front by 2 points. And St Kilda being tested now. Crowd have started to impose themselves on this game. Another push. Another Port Adelaide free kick.
Brogan's ball. St Kilda have only won on this ground 3 times since Adelaide entered the competition in 1993. 3 from 14 their record, but did win here early this year against Adelaide, way back in round 4. Kane Corns again. Now Montgomery. That was a nicely weighted ball for him. He's placed that for Lade and Treadray. Heap of pressure on the Saints in defence. Holding the ball. 2 of them perhaps holding it in.
Max and Justin are both holding it in. Your ball. You're both holding it in, fellas.
Shane McInerney saw it that way, and Cassisi from point-blank range will be lining them up. Well, Hutchton did get in and ensure that that ball wasn't going to come out.
It's a tough decision, but at the end it was probably right.
And Dominic Cassisi to make them pay, and Port stretch the lead.
It's reasonable time. Justin's had reasonable time. Max has come in and locked the ball in, okay? He's locked the footy in, okay?
Goal umpire apparently not having picked up the all clear.
Fortunes through the middle have turned, and it's turned the game around.
Interesting to look back on that free kick at the other end, and that one as well.
And that one as well.
That one as well. I think we agree that was the correct call. So a different complexion on this game. And right around AAMI Stadium, a much happier feeling in the belly of the Port Adelaide fans. 8 points is their lead. Led by Roger James with 14 possessions. Montgomery's had 7, Kane Corns 6. Noble now out there on the ground. That was Kaczynski doing the ruck work.
Some wonderful tactics going on. Justin Peckett at these stoppages drops back in between the stoppage and Warren Treadray, leaving his man free. And at the other end, they're trying to get their ruckman to fall back.
Here comes James again. Can anyone stop him? Andrew Thompson can.
No play opportunity. No play opportunity. No play opportunity.
The Saints players probably a little frustrated with that. No prior opportunity, and the umpire deeming that James had it well.
So that's the inconsistency of that type of decision.
That was a bad call. Black found a path and gave it to Harvey. This is where he needs all his experience. Gives the best opportunity for Garrick. Was that a free? It was. It was a free kick for holding. And now Fraser Garrick
When you got your arms around him,
can go for his 4th.
Yeah, what super play by Black from the stoppage. Here's the free kick. Oh, pretty tough.
Well, Steve, I don't think you would have lasted in the game if that was a free kick every time.
Well, he's actually pushing back on Wakeland.
Did he do enough? I think he did. He did. Only just, but it's worth 6, and the Saints within 2 now.
And we just watched the play here by Black. Took him on, was able to break the tackle, sets up Harvey, in turns, puts it deep to Garrick.
Darryl Wakeland went right through last year, giving away only 5 free kicks. Before that moment, he'd only given away 7 this year. And Garrick has made him pay with his 4th goal. Laid a very clever paddle for Schofield, and Porter dangerous again. Lenny Hayes making sure that Kane Corns wasn't going to slip away.
Sitting it up now. Treadray has got it again, and he made that look too easy.
Yeah, he was too easy, and Maxie Hutchinson, I don't know what he was thinking. He just allowed Treadray 3 or 4 metres, just once again lost touch.
It looks like he's looking for some support, but it's just not coming. I'd almost be inclined, I don't know about you, Steve, but perhaps while he's taking his shot for goal, maybe move Nick Riewoldt up the ground in general play, bring him right up to the centre.
Let's see how the kicking accuracy is here. It's right on. He has his second.
He is so dangerous, this man, isn't he?
He is, and the real worry is we just watched Treadray looking at, Max Hutchinson looking at Treadray. Always dangerous. You've got to try and get touch, but you've got to have your eyes on the ball. In that circumstance there, Max was solely, his eyes were solely on Treadray, and he just gave him the slip.
We should be considering a move on Treadray at this stage, Mick.
Not necessarily on Treadray. I'd like to see if they can get Nick Riewoldt into the game, bring him out of that area.
Well, they've got it out of the middle 3 times in this quarter out of 3, Port Adelaide. Saints change that now. This is Brett Voss. Spearing pass is good. Penny in unusual territory. Sets it up. Blake's on the ground as well. Almost pulls it in. Applied a fantastic tackle there. There was time for Montgomery to get it onto the wing, and Kane Corns cops a fantastic Andrew Thompson assault. It was great stuff, and he holds the ball in.
Well, I just wonder whether he dragged the ball in.
5 tackles for Andrew Thompson, 6 for Lenny Hayes, as Byron Pickett comes off the ground, and Gavin Wanganeen as well. We look at that tackle. Here's Hayes. Crowd voiced their disapproval. Lenny Hayes. Gehrig doubling back. Riewoldt, the close option. First mission accomplished. He can go over the top here if he wants. And he just gets away with it. This is ball. Gehrig leads hard into the pocket. No one back in the square, so he's almost forced to go to Gehrig in the end. He was on his right side, straight into action. Fraser Gehrig for 5! Oh, he's keeping them in it. That is a fantastic result for the Saints. It was a haphazard build-up, but they worked their way in there, and Fraser took the chance.
Watch the block he gets from Stephen Mill. Just there, just took the line of Lakeland, and Gehrig was able to take an easy grab. More importantly, he had space, was able to turn on his left foot. Well done, Stephen Mill.
He's absolutely outstanding touch at the moment. You know, one of the things that Port may consider is getting Chad Corns to the forward line to test out, even further put pressure on the St Kilda back line, because clearly he's not having the effect there of cutting off Gehrig, and he's not necessarily helping out Bishop. Bishop's doing a pretty good job by himself.
And that goal actually makes Mark Williams think in the coach's box. Does he have to make a move?
Now, who wins the takeaway here? It is a hot footy. Kingsley. Can he? No, he can't. Powell for St Kilda. That was a tremendous effort by the Saints. Great spoil, Sean Burgoyne. Took it 30 metres for James. Now Kane Corns with the sit. Just didn't hang on. Thompson with him. Works it clear. Great contest. The game rising to the competitive heights now. Thompson for the Saints. Again they win a hard-fought ball. And Stephen Powell now holds it up before centering. Untidily, but safely. Kosicki to Blake. Riewoldt 3 against him. The numbers will prevail. Wilson bangs it clear and gains plenty of territory.
That was a poor option, wasn't it, through the middle? Del Santo was on his own.
He was.
And there's the tackling of Heath Black.
It's interesting down one end. The Saints have made a move against the best forward for Port, and at the moment Port haven't made the change down the other end.
Yeah, Penny's gone to Treadray.
This is Wilson, watch out!
Oh, Del Santo, conclusive tackle, and he was pinged by the umpire, which I reckon was red hot.
Yeah, he's had a quiet night, Del Santo. That type of stuff, the tackling, gets you back into the ball game.
Here's Lenny Hayes, the captain, goes for Gehrig, and Revolt will drop for him. He's got it! He's got it! And Revolt can put the Saints back in front. Can they keep this pace up all night, both teams, and particularly the Saints? Port Adelaide, of course, had the rest last week. The Saints slogged it out at the MCG against the Swans.
Well, the highlight's been the defensive pressure, really from both sides. The tackling's been outstanding.
Just the two behinds tonight so far to show for his work. Nick Revolt. And he works it back. And they are in front. Four points, boys.
Well, I'd like to suggest that all the forwards that we spoke about having their strengths, they're all on top. No, Nick Revolt, we're saying, can he get in the game? But he's had 6 possessions, kicked 1 goal, 2. Gehrig is definitely on top. Treadray's on top.
Three goals each for the quarter. The Saints wrest back the lead. Brogan and Kazitsky, and Brogan wins it beautifully. Peckett just making the spoil against Gue, who hasn't had a lot of game time so far. Another ball up. One contest after another. It's been a magnificent preliminary final through nearly 2 quarters. And we're none the wiser now than we were at the start as to which of these 2 teams will be playing next week. Thompson. And another ball up.
Thanks, fellas.
Stuart Dew is the type of game breaker. If he's only spent 10 minutes out of 50 on the ground, if he's able to latch onto a ball, you just know that he's going to kick accurately or find someone or kick a goal. So perhaps he and a couple of others that have been well down, if they get them in the game.
Now, umpire Allen letting Toby Thurstons know where he intends bouncing the ball. Thurstons just on a moment ago for Lade. Corns knocking it into a good spot for Port Adelaide. Hudson covered it. Penny, poor kick. Dew, dangerous with that deadly left foot that went nowhere. Kingsley now worked his way out of trouble cleverly. Well taken, Jason Blake, to hold Port at bay.
Let's see if his kicking will be as steady. It needs to be. It's okay. And it finds Del Santo. There's Hayes, who's had a great quarter. And another man who's finding plenty of it, Heath Black. His 8th possession takes the Saints to half forward. Montgomery filled the hole. He just had it long enough as Stephen Milne was about to make the great escape.
There's one player at the moment, Mick. Lenny Hayes is having an outstanding quarter. His direct opponent at the moment is Roger James. Hayes has had 7 this quarter. James has had 3, so cutting him back.
Sean Burgoyne, highly skilled player, and uses those skills to get it onto the wing where they've got a few extra men here. Wilson suddenly going down the wrong way, down a one-way street. Got it back to Montgomery, who delivers onto the chest of Treadray, and a lovely free-flowing ball for Brogan. And Kazitsky was with him all the way. And made a gut-wrenching effort, and he got it through from behind.
That's the most dangerous type of player. When he takes a mark like that and he turns his left to right and immediately turns his backline player around, gets into the goal square on the slide. Didn't come off this time, but that's the danger of Warren Treadray. Both zones have been excellent. The hold-up of the full-back is significant here, that he can't get away. Now he's going to make the play.
Jones, not a lot to go to. In bother, waiting, holding. He did it very well. He didn't panic. Blake and Thurstons. Now Del Santo just couldn't nudge it away from Burgoyne. But Harvey arrives.
They'll be happy with that. The Saints have got it to halfway.
It's been a problem for both sides to get out of defence. Both teams very disciplined on their forward line to lock that ball in.
Kosicki, the Saints' #1 ruckman tonight. Del Santo and the Saints working it away. Black to Harvey. And now Revolt. His 250th mark of the year. That is an extraordinary statistic. Now Gehrig pushing and shoving, but not holding. And a ball up. There have been seasons in recent times when no one's taken 200 marks in a season. Nick Revolt this year, 250 now, is testament to
how great
extraordinary football.
The other one who is great is Robert Harvey. It has been for 300 games, and he's 14 possessions before half-time. The 300-game player is extraordinary testament to his ability to keep going.
Eventually, the shackles are broken. Or are they?
Right footy.
Ball up.
Thanks, fellas.
Just under 3 minutes remaining in what has been an extraordinary half of finals football from AAMI Stadium. The Saints lead by 3. Brogan palming with purpose down to Burgoyne. Snook it on the boundary line. Courageous left foot kick to bring it back, but effective as it turns out. Treadray combining with Kane Corns, a wandering ball for the middle. And Port have got numbers here. They are away. Marnie left it behind, and Aussie Jones puts the head down and the bottom up.
Did well,
the ball's over the line.
Did well, Thompson, 2-on-1. Had one of those Port players picked up the ball cleanly.
I still am amazed at 2 players. Harvey, the way he's played his 300th, and Gavin Wanganeen, who hasn't touched the ball.
Amazing, isn't it? Wanganeen on the bottom, the only player for Port Adelaide not to have registered a possession at this stage. Baker and Hayes fight amongst themselves. Corns applying plenty of pressure. Thompson's handball, a little astray, but it's okay in the end. Blake was swift. Aussie Jones again with nowhere to go. Back to Thompson, they work it through. Some good protection for Baker. Needs to use it, tries Revolt. Had Montgomery working overtime, trying to help Bishop. Revolt committed. Has to come back, and Kane's with a desperate spoil. Kane Corns, that was. I combined the name. Here they go onto the wing. Carr up to half forward again. Aussie Jones. Kosicki in front. Had some help. Aussie Jones. It came from Thompson. The fumble. Kosicki swoop. Was he tackled high? No was the call. A ball up.
With not long to go, I think the Saints would be saying we're 3 points in front. We've had the ball 36 more times than the side who has been comprehensively the #1 ball-getting side in the comp.
It's been some terrific defensive football. Kingsley's hand pass intercepted by Thompson, and the veteran has been magnificent. It could be his finest hour. He finds Kosicki. 70 seconds left. A low stab, Goddard's first feel of the footy. Now Hayes, always with a cool head. Not a true boot this time though. Chad Corns, Montgomery, Sean Burgoyne hasn't had much of it. Is a lovely mover. This is great aggressive stuff. And it's a lovely probing ball for Treadray. Penny did all right. Kosicki. Marnie, the swinger, the goal. Port have the lead.
Great pace off the back line. Took them on through the middle. Treadray again created that play by coming up. He didn't touch it, but he created the ball, the full ball.
Yeah, it created the spillage, but Kosicki did really well here. He was going to be tackled. Just watch this. Was going to get tackled, was able to release his hands over the top, release the ball. Marnie puts the ball through.
Josh Marnie, hasn't he had a terrific rise from being a Williamstown player last year in a preliminary final, leading by 3 points with seconds to go, or minutes to go. It's a dream come true for him.
A great tale of finals footy and Port Adelaide in front, and I just wonder about the psychological impact of them being in front. Just a small thing, Mick, but after all they've gone through in the first half.
Well, as I mentioned about the stats, St Kilda would be thinking, you know, what do we need to do to put this side away?
Well, 30 seconds for them to try and wrest it back, but instead it could be Port attacking and trying to build on their lead. Schofield, who hasn't seen a lot of it so far, working it back. Port seem content. Burgoyne giving Treadray another chance, and he's taken it. Oh, he's hurt himself, but he's all right. Oh, what a mark. What timing.
He's a superstar, isn't he?
The pressure's on. Captains stand up, or they should stand up, and this bloke has been terrific. A lot of pressure. This will be a good test for him tonight to finish this off.
Just a little bound of pain there for a moment from Warren Treadray.
I think he's got a bit of tendonitis. He's regularly strapped that knee for this year. I just wonder whether it's a bit more than tendonitis after that.
Here's Treadray. And, well, it missed. I thought it did, and the result, a 4-point lead after all of that at half-time. We have seen a sensational half of footy at AAMI Stadium, and the great news is there's more to come. Port Adelaide 8-3-51, St Kilda 7-5-47. We're back and ready to go in the second half at AAMI Stadium, and the first half was the one full of fury and plenty of drama. Mick Malthouse, can you assess the state of the game for us at this stage?
Hutto, the way I see it at the moment is that you've got 3 dominant forwards. Treadray had 5 marks, 2 goals. Gearick's had 5 goals. Nick Riewoldt, of course, had 7 possessions and kicked 1 goal too. Both sides lack, at this stage, small forwards to complement their tools. Pickett's only had hasn't had a kick. Wanganeen hasn't touched the ball, and Mills had 1 kick. If one of those can get up, I'm sure that they can assist the side in kicking more goals this quarter. The other point, major point here, is that Port are down 45 possessions on their average for the year, and they're in front. Now that would be a real major concern to St Kilda, because they are not needing as much ball to kick these goals. So it's important that they hold them.
Second half to get underway. Saints with Stephen Milne starting on the bench. We are underway at Footy Park. Let's see what the second half has in store.
And here is Dew with that explosive left foot. Doesn't carry the distance. Wanganeen lurking, just overran it. Still Port dangerous. O'Mahony might have copped it high. He did.
On the top of the head.
Oh, it's ball play. Lenny Hayes. Just a reckless free kick.
Crude effort. And Josh Marnie, who of all the players on all the lists in 2004 was the last one chosen in the pre-season draft, finds himself playing in a preliminary final, and there might just be something better lying ahead.
It's interesting, that's their 4th free kick they've received inside 50. It's generally undisciplined if that happens.
For his second goal, he has managed to miss it. And even after a half, perhaps the nerves haven't quite subsided. Port's lead should have been 10. In fact, it's 5.
We'll see plenty more mistakes if the scores remain as tight as they are at the moment. And right in the gun is the fullback, Aussie Jones, who brings it into Maguire. Took the shortest and I guess the easiest option there. Maguire tries to crank it up a bit, goes for Penny, had to combat Treadray, and Hardwick played it for everything it was worth, and he's rewarded. Damien Hardwick, nothing on for him. Byron Pickett's back in the goal square on his own, but he's some 90 to 100 metres away. Has to settle for the pack. Oh, they all went, but they left it behind, except this man.
Oh, well, it's a bad blue by Maxie Hutchton. Thought that his teammate was going to get across and spoil the ball, but you've got to go with your forward. That's the free kick. But that's the 2nd or 3rd time today that Max Hutchton has thought his teammate's going to get across and help.
There's only one way to play him now, and that is right on body, sacrifice any thought of getting a kick. Starting point's got to be on his shoulder and just bullock him away from the ball. It's no use trying to imagine where the ball's going to go.
And once again, the old technique, set shots for goal, returns.
It's the last 3 shots for goal, set shots, missed the 3 of them.
Interesting, isn't it? He's improved his accuracy over the last 4 years from under 50% to up around 66 this year. Oh, that was almost catastrophic. It might be yet for the Saints. James Wanganeen still can't get a touch.
And Hayes hammers it away, but not for long. Sean Burgoyne mown down. Blake should have finished in there. Burgoyne keeps going. Hayes kept coming too and made the smother. Terrific stuff. Blake to Maguire, who sets it up. Revolt corns against him now. Revolt with great mobility. Harvey needed to kick in a hurry. And there's a St Kilda free kick this time to Voss. The umpires have been quick with the whistle at the start of this quarter, and that looked a little dubious. But it's Brett Voss's ball. St Kilda without a crumbing forward now. Milne and Guerra both on the bench. Now Harvey to try and split them open. And Revolt's got it. Well, was that touched? It was. Port looked to have it covered. Not for long. Ball. Well brought down by Hardwick.
Tackle as soon as he got it. Good tackle.
The struggle goes on.
There's been some nervous decisions made, and there's been both by umpires and players in this first 5 minutes.
What do you think of the move of no Guerra and no Milne in that forward line, Mick?
Well, they just haven't been able to touch it. I think it's a good move. And in fact, if I was on Port side, I'd be looking at taking players off they haven't touched it in the first half and giving other players an opportunity.
Actually, Del Santo's gone forward, and it looks as though he might be the one they use to try and take the ball off the packs.
Yeah, well, if he can come up and meet the ball, at least he can come up and meet the ball and take a mark. The other two just didn't seem to get near it.
Lade and Thurston's on the bench, so Port going small in comparison. Here's Hayes, no one to release it to, so he goes and gets his own ball. Works it back out so they can work it back in. Heath Black, it's a high ball. How'd you like to be under that? Blake is. Corns as well, acrobatic stuff. It's just over despite the best endeavours. Oh, big Noble, hander behind, conceded. Port fans wanting, and perhaps deserving, a free kick there for holding on Brogan. As Byron Pickett comes over to the boundary line in front of us. I'm not seeing it on screen, but he is off and laid back on. So they're going back for a taller mix.
Mismatch.
Meaningful thrusts at either end of the ground in the opening minutes of the second half, but no result yet. Josh Carr in the back pocket. Places that down the flank. Well, it was always a little ambitious.
That was the mismatch that Mick was referring to.
Yep. It'll be interesting to see what they do now, whether he goes to the ruck and the other tall drops forward in Brogan. But I think he's going to go forward, and now all of a sudden the Saints are starting to point fingers at who's going to pick who up.
Looks like
Penny's coming to him.
Yeah.
Baker's been forced back onto Marnie.
Blake and Kazitsky both in there. Hardwick twisting out of trouble. Kingsley, Wanganeen, first disposal of the match. Now Dew. That is a lovely scything kick for Tread Ray, who might win a goal off the ground. He has done exactly that, and Port stretched the lead.
That's the classical case of leaving your forward line open. That's the classical case of leaving your forward line right open so that the players can come up the ground with the knowledge that a player's going to run right onto the ball.
And it was just a great build-up by Port. They came through the middle of the ground, the corridor. Treadray just uses his strength, shrugs Hodgson off. Goal.
A thunderous roar around Amy Stadium. The crowd sensing this is the moment for Port to exert their authority on the game. The Saints have got other ideas. Powell comes in, Dew. Bodies have to go on the line here. They have been all night. The umpire again calling for it. 59 Port, 48 the Saints.
Stats don't always tell the whole story. Treadray 9 disposals, 6 marks. Revolt 9 disposals, 7 marks. I'd suggest Treadray's had a bigger impact.
That's where he's caught it or marked the ball. Most of them have been inside 50.
And if he'd kicked straighter, it would have been an even more significant lead. Black, oh, that's a throw. And the umpire saw it.
There it is. There it is.
The old one-handed hand pass. And now the Saints are really under the pump. Wanganeen finds it for a second time. and goes for the Burgoyne lead. It was never really on. Well played, Harvey, to push back. Baker trying to get it to Maguire, but Marnie gets it to Burgoyne, who backs his pace along the boundary. Carr almost made the impossible possible. And the lead is out to 2 even goals. 9-6 plays 7-6.
If there's one fundamental difference between the two sides, it's in transition. Saints aren't getting back quick enough. And Porter.
Just at the moment, the pressure appears to be on St Kilda. A couple of short kicks in their back half just haven't hit their target.
And look at the change in the ownership of the football. In this quarter, it's been Port in the ascendancy. And right now, they are looking dangerous. Playing for their first AFL Grand Final appearance. Penny does okay there for the Saints. There will be another throw-in. It looked as though Kingsley was close to getting a boot onto it and taking it out on the full. The Saints in 108 years have played in only 5 VFL and AFL Grand Finals. An early whistle and a Port Adelaide free kick. Not in the ruck contest, Hardwick's ball. And the Saints can't afford to concede another goal right now. It's in danger territory. Lade is in the van, but Penny makes the spoil.
The Saints are under siege at the moment. They just need a steady, not only a steadier as a goal, but they need a steady here, see if they can get away from this back line.
All the play in the Port front half this quarter, 5-1 inside 50s.
And Penny being forced to do the ruck work against Lade. Thompson combining with Powell, and they've got it to the wing. Ball, his marking skills tested there by Kingsley to Kane Corns. And now Hardwick, a real one to the top of the square. Oh, that's a great mark. And it's Penny who's got Harvey pushing out, but he switches the other way. Instead goes to Hayes. He's got Thompson away to his left. And further, this is Maguire on the wing. He's got Revolt pushing across half forward, despite the lunge from Kane Corns. He gets it to the blonde spearhead. Gehrig is back in the square. You'd think he has to go to him. He waits, he hesitates, he's in trouble. And after all of that, he makes the task mighty tough for Fraser Gehrig and forced to concede over the boundary line.
That's that transition I'm talking about. Rewalt's getting the ball as many times as Treadray, but Treadray's getting it without interference from the Saint midfield, whereas all Port players are pushing in front of Gehrig and making it very hard to find space.
Hayes waits down, ball it was at the back. He couldn't get through, but he gave Del Santo the chance. And he takes it with both hands. And an important left foot. And the Saints get one back. And there's one goal of difference. And it's met by deafening silence.
Yeah, brave kid, Luke Ball. He copped a heavy knock early in the game, but continues to put his body in. Good confidence builder there from Nick Del Santo, who kicks off the ground. Hasn't had much of the ball today. Needs to produce.
Not a bad name for a soccer striker. And he arrived and executed perfectly. And the Saints stay close. That was a very important goal. There's blood. There's a delay. It's Damien Hardwick.
Steve, I'm interested in your call on the fact that they've moved Bishop away from Rewalt.
Yeah, they have, and I think that they realise that Chad Corns needs to get involved in the play. They lost a bit of drive out of him in the first quarter. They know they played through Nick Revolt. Maybe they were just trying to save him for a bit of run in the second half of football.
Quickly to Andrew Marr for an injury update on Luke Ball.
He's favouring his left side every time he reels out of a contest, Hutto. The heroism of this young bloke at the moment needs to be seen to be believed. He's clearly playing hurt.
He's set up 3 goals, 3 assists, important ones for Ball. Milne's back on the ground, but this is Revolt. Just couldn't hang on for dear life. Carr and now Corns. Off the ground he goes. Hayes and Kane Corns. Del Santo hits over and out on the outer wing.
And having kicked a goal, as the goal sneaked Del Santo back on ball, Wilson following him wherever he goes, and Milne is back for the Saints. Kosicki rucking just about all night for the Saints, and he's performed gallantly. Brogan beats him here. Peter Burgoyne. Now Dew having an impact, but yes, maybe this time. Kick falls short, and Penny has had a good patch, or he played on just as well. He got his boot onto the footy. Blake, head over the ball. Good stuff to earn the free.
Yeah, it did real well. Had to put his head over the ball, got the free kick.
And the Saints are proving resilient tonight. Hayes for Thompson. Dew made it a contest, but Harvey is there, riding shotgun and delivering for Kosicki. And they have Powell running into space. Now he's 70 out. He'll cut it. He'll cut it to 50 and load up and bang it. Thump it, but just offline.
They're coming though, aren't they, the Saints at the moment?
Well, and Kosicki's having a real bearing on this game. He's forcing Brogan to play as a backline player, and I don't think he's too happy in that role. So they're losing a little bit around the ground, certainly forward of centre with that move.
Corn's the target, but the Saints do well to lock it in. Revolt, Hayes, and it's Kane Corns. And he gets it back again from Burgoyne. To centre half forward, here's the transition again. Important body work. Voss is back to his more normal position, but he's conceded a free. Advantage paid and taken. Long kick to the square. Might just about go all the way. Hits the post. And Thurston's, I think it was, that got the kick away. No, it was Schofield. 9-7, plays 8-7.
Attack and counter-attack. Goddard off the bench for the Saints. Ball now. Saints look dangerous here. Brett Voss. Kingsley came at him hard.
Oh, good ball.
Gives to Thompson, the veteran. Bad delivery. Bad choice, really. Wilson had Kosicki covered. Peter Burgoyne. Bishop. Brogan. Needs to get rid of it. Former basketballer. Nimble-footed then against Blake. The kick shocking. Hayes to Jones, to Thompson, to Jones. Tremendous rebound by the Saints for Revolt. The White Knight. Again uncertain. Goes for Gehrig, awkward for him. Schofield and Baker. Baker, Gehrig. He is quick for a big man. Now Milne, can he put his mark on this match? He is well tackled, and he's gone. Holding the ball.
Well, he tried to get around on the left foot. Just had to put it to the top of the square.
That really all started because Dean Brogan thought he was on the basketball court, I reckon.
That could have been trouble. It still might be. Great lunge from Blake. It might create a goal. It won't. At least not yet. Was that over the line? It certainly looked like it. Out on the full. This is edge of your seat stuff. Here's the Brogan kick. And a little touch from Blake proved to be so effective.
Couple of really good, courageous acts by Blake.
This is Bishop searching for Burgoyne and also James, who flies in an aggressive fashion. And he's paid the man. Or was it the free kick?
Front on, I reckon.
Against Goddard, who comes up limping. Quick ball into the middle. Is a good ball. Brogan, is he committed? No, he's not. Wants to give. Going to come back.
No, you've come off your line. You've come off your line, Dean.
Stephen Milne being dragged for that cute little effort over in the forward pocket, Mick.
And there's the free against Goddard.
Just a little bit of contact with the hand. They are absolutely unforgiving if it's front on.
Free kick 7-2 in this quarter, Port Adelaide's way. But we've seen there's another St Kilda player. I think it still is Goddard who's limping off the ground. There it is. A moment just to catch our breath and try and assess what's going on in this game.
Yeah, as the stoppage has just happened, or the stopping play at the moment, Port Adelaide have just done a line right up the middle, and we just see that on screen there. That just allows them to break out the sideways. Plenty of space out there.
34 players involved too. Only Revolt and his opponent, Chad Corns, behind.
Saints have done it well though, the corralling.
Dean Brogan. Corral him out onto the wing. It is 2-on-1 here for Montgomery. He loads it up to full forward. Treadray can't get there. Hayes can. And the captain. Oh, there's going to be some big leadership roles in this last quarter for both sides. Lenny Hayes gives it to Gehrig, who'll be happy to concede it to Peckett. 214 games of experience. Takes it to Jones on the wing. They work it well. Aussie Jones got a problem. And now it's Peckett's turn to try and dig deep. Oh, he gave it to Del Santo. And Port can counter-attack yet again.
Way too fancy. Now Wanganeen. Forced sideways. Wilson. Montgomery. Back to Wilson, who is a left footer. Goes very wide via the cape.
Just on Brendan Goddard, Timmy's been taken up to the rooms. He had a massive amount of blood pouring out of the gash on his left thigh. So they've obviously taken him up there to try and stitch that, repair that and get him back on.
That came about because of that marking contest with Roger James. His boot caught him around the groin area.
Just one goal each in a thrilling arm wrestle of a third quarter. Peter Burgoyne. Schofield. Disposal letting him down right onto the chest of Nick Del Santo, who kicked the Saints' only goal of the term. Now Voss down in the back half, more familiar territory. There's nothing to go to immediately, so he holds it up. Now gives to the gallant Ball.
3-on-1.
Is after Blake. Trouble here for St Kilda. Montgomery again. Kick again a little untidy. Kingsley well tackled by Del Santo. Ball up.
Both sides are working in midfield right back in front of those key forwards. As I said before, the transition part was that Port were on top of that, but I think Saints can. The Saints are certainly working back now to block that hole up.
Kingsley it was who got the crucial handball away. Schofield gets them inside 50, but not for long. Aussie Jones out to half-back. Now, not much of a framework ahead here for the Saints. And precision disposal required and delivered. Blake will be tested here into the middle to Baker. He just got there in time before Thurston's to Harvey. They crank it up to half forward. And Brent Guerra. Well-weighted kick. And once again, this man who will not be denied, Luke Ball, takes the mark inside 50. What a kick coming up.
Lenny Hayes has been outstanding. I think he's had 20 possessions from quarter time onwards. And they're starting to get on top in the middle, aren't they?
Well, they are. If you think of Roger James, had a huge first quarter, 12 possessions, has only had 5 further possessions.
And his man was Haynes in the first quarter. That's right.
Well, imagine the pressure here for Luke Ball. Plenty of time to think about it. It comes back for a goal. Well, it wasn't convincing as far as kicks go, but it's got the full 6 and scores a level.
Yeah, plenty of heavy work in the goal square. Might have been Gehrig that was able to shepherd the man, his player underneath the ball. But Luke Ball, what an effort. Goals.
Oh, the stoppages are so important, aren't they? Kajiski's done very well. I think Port needed out of the centre to score.
After nearly 3 quarters of unrelenting attrition, scores are where they were at the start, and Luke Ball wins this brilliantly for Heath Black from a long way. It's a long kick. Revolt, not quite.
Oh, he's hurt. How seriously, we'll find out in a moment.
The Saints are in front by a point. Well, he has flung himself during this season even more recklessly than that and lived to tell the story. Let's hope he does this time. Oh, that doesn't look good.
Kingsley to bring it back in.
First time for the quarter that Port find themselves behind. Corns up to the wing. Great leap from Kazitsky. He's got Hayes there. And now they're up to 50 again. And that's the sort of work that Chad Corns has done so successfully all season. It's made him such a dangerous weapon coming out of defence. Is that 50? It is. And they're the sort of mistakes that can be absolutely deadly in finals.
Yes, it's something that Luke Ball rarely gets involved in. That's no doubt twisted his groin there, or stretched his groin.
His leg or foot seemed to get caught underneath. Yeah.
His opponent.
They're really running him around now to just that groin, and he doesn't look. He looks probably, doesn't he? Doesn't look good.
Kingsley takes the kick out wide, and here's Schofield breaking.
Gehrig is running and chasing like a man possessed. Marnie, that's slewed off the side of the boot. Could be dangerous yet. Hayes, been wonderful. James, brilliant. Pickett, rare fumble. Penny, Pickett back to try and atone, but the numbers were against him. Powell to Penny. Poor kick. Still dangerous for the Saints, but they have been magnificent. Jones to Voss. And out of bounds won't be a bad result for the Saints. Maguire standing there as an interchange, urging it on. And there will be a throw-in.
If there's two players that need to stand up for Port, it's Wanganeen and also Pickett.
What a wonderful performance from Lenny Hayes. 27 possessions. The captain he certainly led them back in this quarter. He's had 10 possessions. Guerra over the top, and the loose man created. Blake's kick was faulty, and so Port again can stream from defence, or can they? Kingsley's got James on. He was so deadly in the first quarter. Delivers into the pocket, and again it's Lade, who's been one of the top players in the competition over the last 6 weeks, who on the lead accepts the pass gleefully.
Well, he hasn't had a big night, Brendan Lade. Only the 2 disposals to date. Has come on and off the bench. And I think that was Blake. That turnover killed him, because Gehrig was actually free all on his own at centre-half forward. A great chase.
29 goals he's kicked in the last 11 games. He's added to that already tonight. See him talking to himself, trying to get the fundamentals right. His second kick of the night is just like the first. It's a goal and they're back in front.
So many players down on each side, and it's interesting that it's been dominated by a handful of players for each team. The side, I reckon, that gets the 18th, 17th and 15th player or 16th player to start playing good football probably will win the game. It's just interesting if either side can get their 18th, 17th, 16th and 15th player to perform, they'll probably win the game, because there's just a handful of players for each team dominating at the moment.
The lead changes again. Powell. St Kilda winning in the centre at the moment. Brave attack by Corns. Blake a chance to atone for the error a moment ago. Revolt to Gehrig. Well within range. Go back and have a shot, surely.
Lenny Hayes coming off for a rest at the end of this quarter, Tim.
And Milne coming back for the Saints, but Gehrig with the chance to restore the lead.
And Maguire playing out of the goal square at the moment for St Kilda.
Well, he's got a bit of a mismatch there in Wilson. Got a bit of size, bit of height advantage.
It took him less than 11 minutes to kick the 2 goals for his 100. He has 5.
I don't think Maguire's going to have Wilson for long. Bishop's just come back on, so I suggested he would pick him up, and that would free up one of their backline players like Wilson perhaps to go in the middle, because they need to stop them. They need to stop the Saints, who are starting to get a lot of football, free football in the middle.
90 seconds left in this third quarter. 4 points the difference.
Unbelievable tension for the players. And a welcome relief there for Burgoyne to find his brother unattended in the back pocket. And they still have a loose man. They can work it back to the right of screen here, across the ground from Burgoyne to Burgoyne. And nothing for him at the moment. This is a little dangerous. It was executed perfectly. And now Wilson can go. He's got Milne after him. He'll be confident. He can shrug the tackle. One and then another. And they wind up. The ball in the arms of Stuart Dew, who lets fly to the square. Was it touched? It was. Another big moment in the match passes. And still, these sides are separated by less than a goal. 34 seconds remaining in the third quarter.
Time enough, either way. It's the Saints' turn with the footy, and this is promising. Blake again needs to use it, and does. Peckett, Black running for him, and he's got it. And with his left foot from 50, he's a chance. He's a big chance. He is a very big chance, and the Saints are back in front. They will go to three-quarter time by the look of it, with their noses in front, and the psychological impact of that goal can't be underestimated.
Not indeed. It's a interesting way they set that up too. They had players in behind the ball, which is interesting, or in front of the ball, which is interesting because they've generally been falling back in front of Treadray. So they found Port out with a lot of player swaps and changes. Crowded Port forward line at the moment.
Saints are resting their guns for the last stanza here. They'll be needed in the action in the last quarter. One last chance and glory for the quarter. Josh Marnie from absolutely nowhere. Oh, what a moment.
There's been a shot after the siren in every quarter so far. Revolt in the first term, Treadray in the second. They both missed. Now, the unsung hero, perhaps.
Well, from the VFL.
Yeah, he's not known for being a super long kick, but a very accurate kick in around 40 metres. So this may test it.
This would test anyone. Not just the equation of covering more than 50 metres, but a quick glance at the scoreboard tells him his side trails by just one. Josh Marnie. It won't have enough on it. And so, St Kilda will go to the last change in front. Call it, boys.
Well, it's just going to be a wonderful quarter whichever way it goes. But it's those bottom half players, whoever can get those up, they're the ones that are going to count most of all, I think.
A place in the grand final is at stake, and this is a time when you go to your champions. And both coaches did that at three-quarter time. Mark Williams to Warren Treadray and Grant Thomas to Nick Revolt. Maybe don't drop your head. This has been an unbelievable match, and there's more to come. Imagine being in that man's shoes at the moment. Well, the look said it all, didn't it? Port Adelaide coming in as hot favourites. They know all about finals pressure. Can they prevail? They'll start this last quarter 1 point adrift of St Kilda, 10-9-69 to 10-8-68. What have these sides got left in the bank?
Well, we just have the fresh legs here for Port. Plenty of experience, Hardwick, Dew, Schofield, Kingsley and Pickett. They've got two game breakers there in Dew and Pickett. If one of them stands up this quarter, they're a chance to win the game.
Yeah, and as far as the Saints go, there's not a lot of run there. There's a duplication, but little run compared to the Port Adelaide side. And I'm suggesting that they could utilise their players probably better.
All right, let's get down to the boundary, get a bit of feeling from ground level. Andrew Marr and Mark Aston.
Oh, gee, Hutto, it's tense down here. Mark Williams asking Warren Treadray for some advice. He came over, had a look at the board, maybe made a few positional changes. Then they got into a tight huddle. That's how Port Adelaide have been, Andrew, all year. They've been very tight.
It was like a triage unit at the St Kilda three-quarter time huddle. Half a dozen blokes getting their legs massaged. Ball, Goddard and Rewalt all struggling. You were spot on, Hutto. Hayes, Harvey and Ball rested the last 3 minutes of that third quarter for a massive tilt at the start of this term.
And there's Fraser Garrick on the prowl, constantly on the move.
You can feel the excitement. 1 point the difference. We are underway in the final term at Footy Park, and it's Port Adelaide who get the first advantage, and here comes Wanganeen flying out of the square. Is he within range? It can be a big kick.
He's probably got more chance to kick it than Josh Marnie. Josh obviously fell short a few metres. Wanganeen can kick torps, and here I don't know what he's going for, but he can kick this distance.
Maybe he's going to favour. No, he goes the drop punt. That is a mighty kick. That is a kick from the top shelf.
If I can just say, they're the players underneath. The players underneath are the ones that have to lift. And when I say underneath, the ones that haven't touched a lot of the football. Thurstons, Cassisi, Pickett, Lade and Wanganeen. So if we can get players from either side up, that'll make the difference.
And that's a great shot, isn't it? You can feel what it must be like in the outer.
Have lost the lead in the opening minute of the last quarter. A man who won a Brownlow medal 11 years ago has put Port Adelaide back in front.
Don't tell him. Line straight up. Let him go. Let him go, Pally.
Both sides have elected to push their forwards deep inside 50, creating a real numbers in the middle, but nothing on either side of it.
Noble rucking now for St Kilda at the start of the last. Pickett defensive side, barging his way clear. Montgomery and ball, and the younger man wins the footy and gives to Powell, and now to Thompson. Revolt, was he held? Yes, he was.
I reckon he was held twice. Very lucky to get away with the first one, Chad Corns, but was pinged on the second.
No doubt about that. Firm hold on the wrist.
Yes, you can argue all you like about that one. I think the evidence is fairly clear.
If you reckon he was held, Sauce, I'm happy to go with you.
I reckon it was.
Revolt, just one goal for the night. Looked to hurt himself doing the splits as he landed late in that third quarter. So you got the power here from just outside 50. Cross the line, it's a minor score. Port still lead.
And accuracy in front of goal, which has been such a weapon for St Kilda this year. Can they continue with that trend in the last quarter? That's a huge leap. And the mark not paid to Corns. Harvey, somehow it goes to Thompson, and it opens up for the Saints. Ball, a tackle about to be applied, but the hurry kick came in anyway, into the lap of Maguire. Just couldn't get it to his feet. Oh, here's a chance for Gehrig. Montgomery pressing, back it comes. Revolt, adrenaline pumping. He's got it, and the Saints put their nose in front. Can it get any better?
I don't think it can. This is just an unbelievable game of football. Finals football at its best. Pressure, brilliance, and Revolt right in the thick of things.
Can this game get any better? First Port, and now St Kilda countering, and the margin is back to 2 after Nick Revolt kicks his second for the evening. It's 11-10 to 11-8.
The lead has changed 8 times. There's a long way to go yet. Powell, the oldsters have been magnificent again for St Kilda. Hayes mown down. Carr working it clear. James. Caught over the footy. Ball up the result. And for the third year in a row, on his home ground, Mark Williams finds himself with his team battling to win an important final. Powell works it clear once more. And there's breathing space. Port Adelaide have won 3 of 9 finals in their time in the AFL.
this a very important match in their brief history.
And the crowd trying to do their part. You can hear them as Noble and Brogan slug it out. And there'll be plenty of stoppages, you can be sure of that, as the legs of both sides are tested. Grant Thomas just going with his experienced man, his midfielders that have been fantastic all year. They've rotated through the season. The question is, can they run out a full game full of power? Lenny Hayes has been relentless today, 29 possessions. Thompson's been magnificent, but that is a crucial turnover. And James, with his 22nd possession, gets them deep inside. The space is cleared, and Stuart Dew emerges. That's an important fist, and it sneaks through from behind. 1 point in it again.
They don't come a lot closer. 50,000 at AAMI Stadium, roaring themselves hoarse. Harvey. Black kicked a big goal in the third quarter to grab back the lead for the Saints. Revolt, difficult half volley. Del Santo getting rid of Carr, who holds him up. Hudgton.
Saints are starting to get a lot of players free, which wasn't the case certainly in the third quarter.
Sean Burgoyne did all right then on Revolt. Corns did even better. And now Roger James, who kept Port afloat in a very rocky opening term, gives it to Lade, who goes bang and finds Dew in space from 55. A magnificent kick. Port back in front.
Those players that, without stats in the first part of the game, are starting to motor into it now. Stuart Dew with his goals. Wanganeen's getting involved.
So deadly. Give him space. He'll kill you. There are some Saints supporters here, but as you can imagine, they're in a distinct minority. And look at that. Port Adelaide back in front.
We're getting dizzy as it goes from one end to the other. 12-9 to 11-10. This is finals footy. It's Friday night. It's the big stage. Who's going to stand up? Who's going to be strong? Oh, the pressure on Black. Pickett, what a weapon. But the Saints keep in control. At half forward, digging deep. This is Kaczynski. He goes for Revolt, 2 to beat. It was beyond him. He got a push.
Push him out of the contest, Chad.
He was in all sorts of trouble, Chad Corns, when Revolt's on the lead. He just knows he hasn't got the pace to go with him. St Kilda are playing 4 big men in their forward half. Maguire, Revolt, Garrick and Kaczynski.
And certainly testing the quality of the back line for Port.
What a huge ask. He veers out to the right and doesn't make great contact into the square. Lade, and it's out of bounds, which is probably a better result than a behind for St Kilda at the moment.
You'd almost be tempted to put Bishop back on the Revolt, wouldn't you? He's the danger man up at centre forward. I realise that Garrick is the danger player back, but you've got to take the first player out, and that's Garrick. That's Revolt. This at 50-metre line.
Bishop's got the footy right now in a tight spot. Maguire had it, lost it. Another ball up.
No chance. Fine, thanks, no private.
Talk about pressure on the players at the moment. The umpires as well. What a big role they'll play in the last 14.5 minutes.
Brett Allen, he's a senior. Steady head. Kane Corns kicking under pressure. Finds his brother. Also under pressure. Ball just sped it before he actually had it. Oh, Corns deliberately out to the boundary. Big call. Throw in.
Good decision. Under pressure. We're playing finals football.
That is the Port Adelaide forward line at the moment. They've brought all players up. When they get the quick break, they'll kick it long inside their forward 50. They'll attempt to run onto it.
Kaczynski battling on. Maguire to Thompson. And here is Gehrig across the face. Oh, Wakeland. He was under the pump early. He's hit back to some extent in the second half and delivers out for Corns, who got demolished, but he got the ball away most importantly. And Port Adelaide have the fast break. Peter Burgoyne lets fly to half forward. Hadston had to go with the spoil he did. Ground level, plenty of screaming and yelling. Kaczynski runs onto it. Has to work it back for Pickett. Got Montgomery at the top of the 50. Does he spot him? No, he doesn't. Goes long into the square. Brogan. There was some jumper. And the umpire saw it.
Had the front of the jumper coming all the way up, Luke. No, I'm not Luke.
The tug of the jumper will cost the Saints a goal.
Where cool heads are absolutely paramount in all occasions. You know, it's been a wonderful match. Got to earn every kick you can possibly get.
And Brogan from wobbly legs steers it through. Will that be enough for Port Adelaide?
Well, I think that's a fair call.
Steve,
Penny had his jumper.
No interference, though.
Yeah, well,
Brogan had Penny's harm. I reckon it's 50-50. I just let it play.
Port Adelaide stretch the lead. Luke Penny stretching Dean Brogan's jumper. Mick, you're not convinced?
50-50. In these sort of tight games like that, both play. It didn't interfere with the contest. But let it play on.
Noble gives St Kilda a few metres, but not the ball yet. Maguire, well held up by Roger James. Ball up.
Those 50-50 calls. Let's have a look back down the other end. This is Corns. Is that deliberately out of bounds?
No doubt.
Still, the Saints had a glorious scoring opportunity. Andrew Thompson's shot missed by a long way, and that really is what cost them. Noble. Now here's Thompson. A reprieve. Harvey for revolt. Within range.
Tell you what, if they can get the break, the Saints, Nick Revolt on the lead, will get Chad Corns every time.
Well, they put him in a real dangerous position. They put him just in front of Gehrig, 30 metres out, open space in front of him. Chad Corns is a zoning player. He's not a go-with player.
2 goals, 3 for the night. His team 11 points down. He has done the job. It's back to 5.
Wonderful kick. Watch the effort by Kaczynski. I'm pretty sure he just opens the path up there for Thompson. Thompson able to get the ball over to Harvey. Harvey puts it to Revolt.
And just as we thought, Bishop has to go back on Revolt because of that big opening in front of him where Chad Corns was never going to be able to go with him.
And still they come. There's still 12 minutes to go in this last quarter. Brogan at the back, Voss under pressure. Desperate stakes. Pickett couldn't get to his feet. Hurried kick from Hayes. He blasted away. Underneath it, Wilson. Amazing courage. Maguire couldn't get there. Now Pickett's loose in the middle of the ground. But Wilson will stick to the basics. You would think he'll go long. He's got a short option just to make a liar of me as Burgoyne presented. And they're in no hurry. They lead by 5 to the top of the square. Treadray makes his move. Hudson almost. Ball up. How many more goals from here in this last quarter, do you think, boys? 13 to 12 at the moment.
Yeah, not many more, I couldn't have thought.
Carr gets an opportunity. Harvey keeps on keeping on. Out to the wing. He's done it again, Wilson.
Oh, it's sensational.
He's a marvel. And he moves it quickly to Sean Burgoyne, who can be devastating. That's got power in it, right to the square lane. Oh, man, he crashed the pack. And another behind. And we're back to that even goal. And we have to start diving for the rule books, just in case.
This is Nick Ruivold. Bit of a concern over his knee.
And at the other end, Brett Voss came to grief as that pack collapsed. He's up though. Jones just reaching Thompson.
If the umpires are correct, then that should have been a free kick. St Kilda had a trainer in the 50-metre zone.
Would have been a big call, Mick.
Well, it's the rules.
He's to Hudson. Marnie arriving. Danger for the Saints. They have numbers there. Harvey finds safety, but Port hold it in.
Lonnie Hayes has played a great game, Mick, but a couple of times tonight he set a couple of his kicks up that put his teammates under pressure.
Well, he has had a great game. I guess you can excuse one or two, but you can't make mistakes at this time of the game with trailing by a goal.
Lade and Brogan both there. Noble doing well in the ruck. Coming on fresh in this quarter. Carr smothered. Baker's kick managed to find Powell to Harvey. Another great takeaway to the veteran Peckett. Almost running into his teammate Maguire. Saints making a bit of a mess of that. Harvey, Del Santo. Just couldn't hang on. Got it again and a ball up. Umpire McInerney was all set to penalise him and changed his mind.
Well, did he drag it in? If he did, the obligation was on him to get it out. And maybe the umpire deciding that it just came out in time.
Very, very lucky.
Nobles has made a terrific difference to St Kilda around the packs. He's getting his hand to almost every one of them.
Del Santo goes to the well again. And he doesn't want to have a shot, Revolt. He goes to ball instead. And he can level the scores. And the crowd, once again, is deadly silent. Luke Ball. Time must just about be standing still for him. But he is up to the challenge. And the Saints are as well. It's level.
Well, he's a quality kid, Luke Ball. We see Nick Ruivold on the lead here, but Luke Ball, under pressure, still a very, very young player, is able to go back and slot it through. That is a pressure kick.
This is one long night. The young and the old of St Kilda standing up. Luke Ball's 20th disposal levels the scores. Noble again doing effective things in ruck for the Saints. Peter Burgoyne, Del Santo with him. Numbers with Port, Schofield, Chad Corns, now Wilson. From four to the wing, probes in the Cassisi direction. Jones weighted down with wisdom. Not with a lot of room to move. A ball up. 88 plays 88, 8 minutes on the clock.
What a sensational game of football. And just what will happen in this last 8 minutes. Thompson to the boundary line. Del Santo. Wilson. Schofield back to Wilson again, lassoed in, but he just got clear. Burgoyne just bombs away to full forward. Laid, Cassisi can't get through. Was he tackled high? We saw the stray hand.
No, I tackled your head down, barging through. No, you were barging
We
through.
heard the explanation. The head was down.
St Kilda 14-2 in the hit-outs, and Trent Noble's been outstanding this quarter. He's able to release players to go forward.
Brogan and Laid, they both went at it. Harvey, unstoppable. Carr. And he goes again. Out to half-back. And Blake versus Burgoyne. Blake, not as nimble as his opponent, but somehow he gets it back to Harvey, whose ageing legs take him over and the ball over the line.
And that is the St Kilda forward line. We see Kazitsky up forward. Garrick is standing right on the fence with his opponent, Wakeland.
Noble and Brogan. And Noble wins again, but to Wanganeen, who kicked a goal earlier in the quarter. Surely there'll be a score. There is. There's a major score. Port in front by a goal.
He's a freak, isn't he? This is an unbelievable goal.
When he gets it, something's going to happen. He hasn't had a lot tonight, but something is certainly happening.
That's incredible.
He's given Port back the lead. Prior to that, across the night, both teams had held the lead for 53 minutes. The rest of the time it had been level.
Quill the crowd. Hit Mark Williams and his team over the line. They are giving it everything. Port lead by 6. The Saints have been amazingly resilient. Can they go again? Noble in the ruck gives them a chance. Burgoyne. Burgoyne's. Ball up.
Two contrasting forward lines. Saints have got 4 players down there. Port have got 6. Very open forward line for the Saints.
6.5 minutes remaining in this memorable final. Hayes, colourblind, gave it straight up. Burgoyne, a wonderful 60-metre left foot torpedo. Baker, along the line, Del Santo. Normally the skills are silky, but in these times, anything can happen. He gets another go at it. Peckett just has to kick to revolt. Garrick makes a run. Wakeland was magnificent. And Roger James sends Port to that man again. Gavin Wanganeen, what a cameo. Stuart Dew is loose at half forward. Can they get it to him? No. Harvey, goes backwards. Pressure onto Voss. Great tackling. Now Voss has got it under him, but he's got a free. And we're down to 5.5 minutes.
Smarty rode him forward. The Saints cannot afford to concede the next goal. Jones. Stephen Powell, a wonderful contributor for the Saints. Oh, danger here. James, Brogan. Montgomery calling inside. There's a whistle, there's a Port Adelaide free kick. James's ball.
When do they start going defensive, do you think?
Well, I don't think one goal's not going to help them. It's got to be, you've got to be over a goal to do that.
Ball mowing down Montgomery. Kazitsky, Del Santo. Ball. Saints have never lost their poise tonight in this cauldron. Revolt couldn't get there. It's a Port Adelaide mark. It's Sean Burgoyne with the power clinging to a 6-point lead into the last 5 minutes for a spot in the 2004 grand final. Grant Thomas has done about all he can do now. Long ball. Treadray arrives, didn't quite do enough. Kane Corns for Wanganeen.
who has risen like the phoenix from the ashes in this final quarter. Too far out to add to his 2 last quarter goals. He sits it. No result. The veteran Peckett. Heath Black having to wait. Brogan coming at him.
Oh, that's just great desperation. They know what they're fighting for. It's a grand final next week. You're just going to give your life on it. Football life.
Ball up.
Be over dramatic, but geez.
Hutto brushing up on his extra time rules.
5 minutes each way after a 6-minute break. But at the moment, it's in Port Adelaide's end of the ground. They are out on their legs, both teams. James blazes away, deep into the pocket, and Aussie Jones got a fist in. We're inside the last 5 minutes of what has truly been a great final. Is there another twist in the tail? Or will Port Adelaide prevail? Corns, tried and failed. Thompson, Powell, Ball and Montgomery. Here he is again. Gavin Wanganeen, creative to the end. Kingsley must score, and if he does, they'll be edging over the line towards that last day in September.
Well, doesn't the cream rise to the top? Gavin Wanganeen has been outstanding the last 12 minutes. I think he would have had 4 or 5 possessions. It's probably his 4th kick, I think, for the quarter. And each one of them have counted.
Adam Kingsley, he was virtually given his marching orders at the end of last year, told to shape up or ship out. He straight away lost 5 kilos and got stuck into it. He's had a magnificent season. And now he fires away. He needed to score, but he misses everything. And so the Saints get another chance.
Crowd of 46,978. Not the biggest at AAMI Stadium, but I reckon the most excited. And one might say the most privileged. This has been an epic. It has been a final to be remembered among the very best. Do the Saints have a last gasp in them? Thompson a high ball. Del Santo copped it in the nose. Goes back to it. Couldn't find it. James to Sean Burgoyne. Thompson just had to attack and hope. Helped it on. Port Adelaide now tigerishly.
Roger James. What a game he's played as well. Hard at it, winning the contested ball.
He's not quick, he's not tall, he just keeps having a go, doesn't he? Just built for finals football.
Lade bringing it down. Powell the steal. Voss, Brogan. Anybody. In the end, nobody. It's a long way from St Kilda's goal. The seconds are ebbing away.
Every quarter has gone beyond 30 minutes.
Who can make the takeaway? Kane Corns, James, wide again. Very wide, St Kilda's ball.
We've got a switch play.
The Saints still a chance.
And they can switch it to Powell. There's one-on-ones ahead. He goes for Revolt, who's got to dig deep. He's got to dig into every inch of his body and see if he can get it forward. Gehrig makes his lead, then doubles back. Guerra, the former Port player's lurking. He's at the back of the pack. Brent Guerra couldn't get the boot to the ball. And it's over. Oh, high drama at AAMI Stadium. What a moment for Brent Guerra. And he just couldn't quite keep his feet.
Port have pushed all their numbers over to halfway of the ground, all in the St Kilda forward half.
They need a goal, the Saints. Lade brings it to ground. Fraser Gehrig.
Time on, let him go now. Nothing silly could cost yourself the game. Nothing silly.
Unbelievable tension around AAMI Stadium. Who's it going to be? Anyone?
Big hole behind the centre of the stoppage here, favouring the Saints. They've done it well.
Noble in the ruck. Penny. Free kick in the back. A crucial whistle.
Must man up now, the Saints.
Michael Wilson.
Wanganeen's free beyond 50. Still free.
Like his club, this man has suffered a couple of major setbacks in his career. Port by a straight kick. And they are there. For the first time, the Power are in the grand final.
It's a true Port Adelaide tradition. We'll never stop, stop, stop till we're top, top, top. There's history here in the making. We've got the power to win. We'll never give in till the flag is ours for the taking.
It's like a grand final out there. The emotion is unbelievable as we go down to Mark Aston.
Warren Treadray, congratulations, you're into a grand final.
Oh, yeah. What do you say, eh? No, we wanted to start well. They got the jump on us, and Garrett was pretty well unstoppable to start with, but we knew our best was good enough. We knew that they went to Brisbane and got the bit of a hammering up there and took the time out the legs, and then also they come out last week against the weak game, so we knew if we kept working we were going to get this one, and we got over the line, and I pretty much thank the crowd for that. 46 or 47,000 people that come from everywhere, every country, town you can even think of, they're here, and we thank them for coming along and spending their money.
One of the great games of the year.
Yeah, it was, and we knew it was going to be tough. The side had been tested a couple of weeks ago. We'd hit a bit of form, and today we weren't pretty, but finals doesn't have to be pretty. We kicked 14 goals. That happens all the time, so to win by a goal at the end, and what better bloke than Gavin Wanganeen to pull something like that out to win the game for us.
Congratulations, have a great week, good luck in the grand final.
Sorry for the shower spit.
No worries at all, Warren. Let's head over to Andrew Marr.
Thanks very much, Mark. Roger, heroic stuff, fantastic win. Yeah, great win for the club. We've been here a couple of times now in the last few years, and it's just great to get through this game.
When you are somewhere you've never been before, what does it feel like 45 seconds after the final siren of what's going to be one of the great preliminary finals?
Yeah, it's exciting. We've never been here before, so things to come. We're looking forward to it.
Good luck next week. Well played. Back to you, boys.
Oh, they'll be replaying this game for years to come, won't they? The emotions from both sides. Robert Harvey, how must he feel?
Well, the spoils are with the victors, but the plaudits are with both teams fair and square tonight. It is...
Look at that. That just tells you everything, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah. Two things that come out of this. Port deserve it. Saints would have deserved it, there's no question, but their time's going to come. They've demonstrated that they are not far off the big time, and I mean the big time, the big dance. And full credit to Port. They hung in there. They looked like they were gone at one stage, particularly in the first quarter, and they've bounced back in unbelievable fashion. It's a great game of football.
That's why we love this game so much. That was an absolute classic. And Robert Harvey, in his 300th game, has played a memorable game. 27 possessions, as ever, did not stop running. He deserves so much more than bitter disappointment at the end of this unforgettable night.
And the Port players going out to thank their fans personally. Warren Treadray talked about it. You could feel it in the stadium right from when we got here tonight. They were making noise in the warm-ups, and they brought them home in the last quarter.
Well, there was a fair bit of emotion right from the start of this game, but you just saw the reaction of the Port players. There were actually tears out on the ground. That's how much relief, how much pressure and energy, I think, that this game took out of these players. And Port Adelaide have been waiting 3 or 4 years for this. They've had a number of very good seasons, but this is their year. They've got every chance next week. They're there. They'll go home tonight. They'll ice up. They'll wake up tomorrow morning knowing that they're going to play in the grand final. That would have been their goal at the start of the season.
Mick, is there a danger that this is too close to a premiership for them? They are obviously very jubilant about it, as well they might be, but is it like a premiership for them?
Well, there's a lot of emotion out there, and I'm just trying to equate this back to the last couple of seasons with Collingwood. I know the first one, when we got 2002, we got over the line, and it could have been the case, but I just think that this side, I think the cheers are more the fact, not joy that we've achieved. What I'm trying to say, relief. It's more an anticipation, because there's a lot of players out there that know that this may be the last roll of the dice for him. It was Darryl Wakelin, interestingly, 30 years of age. The big lift, I reckon, in the last quarter was Wanganeen at 31, 32. They won't let this go. I just suspect that there's no relief in this. This is just a prelude to the build-up. And full credit to them, as I said before, they've really earned it. 3 years it's been on top of the ladder. To come through like this, it's not easy to be called the whipping boy in the finals. And they've stood up very well, and I think it's a credit to their organisation.
In amongst those shots, we caught one of Warren Treadray with the finger up, and I think saying there's still one more to go. There certainly is for Port Adelaide. These are just quite amazing scenes as we look out from the commentary box down onto the crowd, who are all still standing. Gavin Wanganeen. I'm sure the Port players almost don't want to leave the ground, but as we've mentioned, there is still a very important contest to come against either Brisbane or Geelong.
And what relief Mark Williams must feel. Boy, that shirt collar would have been tightening up in the last quarter.
Just the 3 wins from 10 finals until tonight.
Darryl Wakelin shedding tears out there. Played in St Kilda's last grand final in 1997. Tonight he's been a part of keeping them out of one. I don't think that's why he was crying.
That was a great fight back by him, wasn't it? He had 5 goals kicked on him early.
Yep.
And he fought back really well. In fact, the old saying about wherever your player goes, follow him. Well, Fraser Gibbs was walking up and down along the fence, and he was behind the goals following him, which shows you how dedicated he was to the cause.
Unbridled jubilation here. Let's stay in the rooms with the Port Power as they sing the song. Such a complex plot, so many twists in the tale. What a magnificent game. Port Adelaide and St Kilda, and in the end, Port Adelaide prevailing, and they are through to the grand final to meet Brisbane or Geelong. Just the one goal in it in the end, after Fraser Gehrig led the Saints off to a frantic start.
5 first half goals. Revolt with 3, Tredray and Wanganeen. What a cameo performance with the multiple goals. There's the siren, and that just sums it up. It is just quite amazing what this game means to everyone, and obviously to the players out there. Fantastic reactions around AAMI Stadium. And a man whose reaction, I'm sure, was very positive. He tried to remain calm, as we see there, but he knows he's finally coached Port Adelaide into the grand final. Mark Williams joins us down in the rooms. It's been a privilege to watch this game, Mark. Congratulations, you're into the grand final.
Yeah, we're very thrilled about it. You know, it's fantastic for all our crowd, and you know, anyone that's wore a Port Adelaide Guernsey over the last 150 years would be really proud of the way the guys just gutsed it out, because you know, St Kilda didn't give us one easy kick tonight, and I thought that our guys really worked and just had to keep going and going and going, and you know, it was still in the balance with you know, 10 seconds to go. It must have been an unbelievable night in the coach's box. Just how tough was it? Well, it was exactly what we expected. It was hard and tough, and it was, you know, they made most of the running for the night. And, you know, we're just hanging in there, and I thought, to the credit of the side, that's the toughest game we've played for a hell of a long time, and you know, we haven't lost many games of late. So to be sitting there with a week off, maybe we got a little bit of a soft underbelly, and gee, we have to improve to play well next week.
Mark, how much of a relief is it to make the grand final, considering the disappointment of the last 2 seasons?
Well, I think the last 2 seasons really helped us. Three-quarter time, we talked about a couple of those different aspects of our career, our club's short existence, and the guys just wouldn't give up. They refused to lose, and you know, as you see, champion players like Gavin Wanganeen just never out of the game. You just got to leave them there and let them do their stuff, and kick 2 goals in the last quarter just shows what a champion is.
I was going to ask about that, Mark, because it was both Wanganeen and also Darryl Wakeland who had so many goals kicked on him early, who really hit back in the last quarter. Yeah, they were very significant, I think. I think Sean Bergman was just outstanding tonight. Roger James obviously played a wonderful game. Tredray really led from the front at the start. You know, he kept us in the game when, you know, St Kilda, you know, they, as I said, they had so many shots on goals. They hit the post, and you know, they were very, very unlucky. And Grant would be very, very proud of them. I'm sure that everyone back at St Kilda would be disappointed, but the fact they can see a real bright future there. And you know, we have to watch out for St Kilda in the years to come.
Mark, you must be pretty proud of your boys. They answered the challenge. St Kilda came out firing in that first quarter, but you came back. But you were challenged right throughout the game. The way your boys stood up and finished off at the end, they basically told the football world that they can stand the heat at finals football.
Yeah, well, I know it's been questioned. I'm sure that everyone had it in the bottom drawer, just ready to pull out again to talk about how we couldn't handle it. But you know, that's 2 finals in a row now, and our finals record's getting to look quite reasonable. And the fact is that we're playing in finals, and when you're playing in them, you've got a chance to lose, but you've certainly got a chance to play in a grand final. And we've given ourselves a chance each year, and that's a really great credit to the character of the players and the leadership group at our club.
You've got that chance, Mark. We saw after the siren the amazing scenes of relief and jubilation on the ground. How do you handle it now in turning those emotions from tonight to quickly switch to next week?
Well, I'm thinking that, you know, the guys have almost finished they're celebrating now. They're pretty cool about it. We know we've got a job to do. We know that you know, Geelong and Brisbane are going to be they're going to fight it out, and if they fight it out like we did and had to go tonight, it'll be a terrific game for everyone in Victoria. You know, it's just a wonderful game for, I'm sure, you know, 10's ratings would be through the roof tonight.
We certainly hope so, Mark.
We certainly weren't switching off early, I don't reckon.
I don't reckon, Mark. Fantastic performance by the team. Congratulations to you. We'll see you next week.
Yeah, it was my first game for my mum after a quadruple bypass, so she was sitting here through it, so hopefully she got through it okay. I'm sure she did.
Well, let's hope so for sure. Well done, Mark.
Good on you guys. Thanks
Mark
for your support
Williams.
too. See you next week.
Indeed. The victorious coach. We're looking forward to it already, Sos. We've got one big one tomorrow night before then, but all the emotions down there in the room's sensational.
Oh, huge. And just wonderful to see Mark Williams have the opportunity to coach in a grand final, and he really has deserved that honour.
All right, we brought you some great scenes tonight. There's been some fantastic action. Let's have a look at a few more as we go to the break. Back with more in a moment.